Where's it come?
You have it running in one of the tabs, possibly.
No, I have it run, like I have a big screen. Sorry. I have like a huge screen. No, not on the phone, like a huge like TV screen. Yeah, but I never monitor. Like I don't know how many inches, but like it's big. It's like a big TV.
That's what she said.
It was actually the screen was supposed to be for my videos, like to have it like as a background, but that needs to be in a studio, which it might still be in a studio, which is I'm getting it ready now.
Someday we guys gonna have an awesome production for all of you.
Yeah,
that's what we're striving for, to have amazing experience. But it should be pretty good today as well. Hopefully, fingers crossed, CMD is joining us a little later. But for now, we're just gonna start it strong.
All right. Let's get into it then. Grab your drink, guys, and get comfy, because this week the Nobel Peace Prize was awarded not to Trump, but to Venezuela's Democratic fire starter, and that who then dedicated it to Trump. Meanwhile, Russia unleashed its biggest drone assault on Ukraine's energy grid in months, plunging Kyiv, Odessa, Lviv, and Kharkiv into darkness. But Ukraine is striking back with precision. Now it's at 38% of Russia's oil refinery capacity, just taken out, and it's in just months. And Zelensky made it clear, if they want to black out us, we will do the same. Russia must feel the price of this war. Ukraine is still holding the line against missiles, against lies, against silence as well. And every strike, every truth, and every act of resistance still matters. Welcome. This is SlavaCast Live. I'm Slavi, and this is Johnny. We're also streaming on his channel. Please don't forget, if you're new here, to subscribe to both of the channels. Share the stream, like, and comment as well, and say hi to us in the chat.
I already have a first comment over there. Thank you, guys. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for liking. That's what gets this show seen and viewed by many people, and we can spread the good word.
Absolutely. And just to get this out of the way, finally, talking about Nobel Peace Prize thing, I wanted to bring it up because Zelensky actually said that if Trump will either give Ukraine the Tomahawks, or there'll be a ceasefire, that Zelensky will nominate Trump. But of course, that didn't happen. But I always said to dangle the Nobel Peace Prize in front of Trump like a carrot. So he actually does something for a change.
Trump is such a child. I mean, and he's the only thing he really did to get that Nobel Peace Prize, as far as I can see, is he rolled out the red carpet to Putin and thanked him on every occasion that he was able to. I was wondering why they didn't give him the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times, how many dictators should you thank before they give you a Nobel Peace Prize? Like, where is this organization coming to?
Yeah. Well, actually, Putin actually sounded off on that as well. Of course, he called the Nobel Peace Prize like it's a mockery of actual peace. I mean, this whole thing is ridiculous, coming from Putin's mouth, saying it's rigged, and it doesn't. And people who get the Peace Prize don't actually bring peace, coming from Putin, meaning.
I mean, Putin should hate everyone who is getting that prize because Putin is on the other side of the aisle. Usually people that are getting the Nobel Peace Prize are the ones who are in opposition to people like Putin, in opposition to dictators, to some people who are trying to achieve some democratic process in their countries. So anyone who is getting, it's not a surprise that Putin is trying to say that Nobel Peace Prize has lost its credibility, because Putin should hate it with all his guts. And when you have somebody like Putin on your side, repeating what you have to say, like I'm talking about Trump right now, he should think about it, like maybe he doesn't really deserve the Nobel Peace Prize.
No, I mean, I would have given it to him if he actually did something and helped
Did anything.
Ukraine. Yeah,
If he did something. Well, did you say that that lady that received the Nobel Peace Prize, she dedicated it to Trump?
yes.
What's the logic?
She
How did she put it?
she accepted it, but in Trump's honor. So she dedicated the award to him.
I guess, Trump is a leader of United States. Uh, United States citizens gave him so much power that people all around the world, they're forced to be sucking up to him. That's why the NATO leader was calling him daddy. That's why they're invited to come here and to talk to him about war, to try to persuade him to be democratic, to help democratic processes, to stop thinking dictators. That's the kind of power that we as citizens gave to our president. And now, even the Nobel Peace Prize recipient is forced to even thank him, for what? I mean, just because he's a leader of the United States, we are an important country, and he has a lot of power in his hands. But he's not really using it. Like, what is he using his power for? To thank dictators? To on his what was it, when they had this summit where they were plotting against the United States? He even wrote it on his Truth Social. Oh, you guys have met after he rolled out the red carpet for Putin. You guys have met and you're plotting against United States. Oh, and by the way, send my warmest regards to Vladimir Putin. Like, is that how you want the leader of the free world to behave? To suck up to the ring of dictators around the world? That's not really worthy of anything that we're trying to accomplish over here.
Yeah, and then Putin, of course, went to China, and that really hurt Trump. He was really like, it's over kind of energy.
Yeah, he's a loser. I mean, he's sucking up to dictators, and they don't see him, because they understand the power of the people. They understand that Trump doesn't have this country. It's not a dictator's country. So they don't accept him, because they know he doesn't have, he has some MAGAs, he has some Republicans, but he doesn't have the country. The country is not just MAGAs. There's Democrats, there's independents, there are people who don't like dictators in this country. And Kim Jong-un and Putin and Xi Jinping, they understand that. So they tell him, kind of, you're not one of us, until you send more troops to your blue cities, until you subside all of your opposition, until you get rid of Democratic Party, until you destroy everything that your country was building in the last 250 years, you cannot become part of us. And obviously Trump is trying very hard. He's sending armies in Oregon, in Chicago. We just had one in Los Angeles not too long ago. He's sending all these signs across the world. Look, I'm a dictator. I can be one of you. But that's not enough. He needs to do a lot more. I wish
No, let's hope
Commander.
let's hope he's not gonna do more. Like, already taking
Gosh,
away free speech. It's
I
funny.
mean,
I wonder
yeah.
where all the Trump-loving, free speech absolutist people, um, yeah, and they're being silent now. I guess cats got their tongue.
Yeah, I mean, it's free speech absolutism. I don't know.
Yeah,
you have to ask them. You have to ask them.
yeah. Let
Um,
me do because we are recording this as well, guys. So I just want to do the first segment about Nobel Peace Prize properly, but we'll be quick. So this was a huge Nobel Peace Prize shocker. October 10th, Nobel Peace Prize awarded to Maria Corina Machado, Venezuelan opposition leader, honored for nonviolent struggle for democracy against Maduro. She's currently in hiding, second Venezuelan to win since 1980. Machado's wild twist, here it comes, dedicated the prize to Donald Trump for his decisive support of our cause. That's what she said. Called on Trump to help Venezuela conquer freedom. Trump's reaction was claimed Machado called him directly. She accepted it in his honor, and he said, "I didn't do it for that, but I saved lives in Gaza and Ukraine." Okay, he's really taking it all in, huh? Also, Zelensky's earlier statement, this was on October 9th, if Trump gives Ukraine, he said, if Trump gives Ukraine a real ceasefire, we will nominate him for the Nobel. Tied directly to delivery of Tomahawk missiles, which we're going to get to later talking about it. But the Nobel Committee also says that they award courage, not politics. And after that, X actually, if you guys are on it, I don't know if you guys seen it, but it exploded with Trump deserves Nobel and Peace Prize rigged. And then Putin actually weighed in on that, um, called Trump a force for good, and mocked Nobel as discredited, claimed Price ignored true peacemakers. This is coming from Putin. It's a joke. But yeah, and this is basically this whole Nobel Peace Prize kind of became a proxy war in itself because it's spotlighting democracy versus authoritarianism. And Trump is being acclaimed by both sides of the front, like we talked about, right?
Yeah, I mean, there is a war going on. There are two sides. There's a good and evil. It's not, there's no. I hate this both sidism. Like when people are saying, "Oh, let's find good in Putin. Let's see what he's trying to do." You know, uh, what he's trying to do is a genocide. Like we should be firm in our thoughts, in our actions. It's going to take everything that we have to win this. It's not easy. People are paying with their lives. We're reading all these stories every day. Bombs are falling. Tonight, people died. Every night, people are dying. Um, and we're gonna have this face of Putin, his smug, smirky face, who hates all our institution, who is making a mockery. He's gonna go over there, and we're gonna give him a platform to say, this Nobel Peace Prize is a joke. Maybe it is, but he has no way of. He shouldn't say anything about what we built at the Western society, Western civilization. He's trying to destroy it. And
Absolutely. And
then, and then,
he's trying to destroy it with right wing movements. That's what he's doing through Europe, obviously in United States, and destabilizing. But sorry, go ahead, Johnny.
no, exactly right. Um, uh, it's usually, I mean, he's trying to destroy it with right wing movements and also with left wing movements. So Russia is reaching out to any kind of fringe groups that are seeking power in your country. Look around. If you have a very hard left, very hard right, people without principles, people are hungry for power, people who want more exposure, more money, because Russia will just send you money in bags of cash, like they did for Moldova, where they were just trying to win an election, like they're doing in Czech Republic, where they aggressively pushed their Russian pro-Russian coalition in in the Czech government right now. So Russia is doing this everywhere around the world. They are doing it very actively over here in the United States. They have a highest United States official repeating Russian talking points, Russian propaganda, which is very, very stupid. It takes 5 seconds of YouTube search to see that it's not true. But we have president.
I like to say Russian propaganda is for idiots.
Absolutely. But that's what Russia is counting on. They are looking for these idiots all around the world. And sometimes it's not even idiots. We all have our blind zones. I don't want to say that, all these people are idiots. Some of them are definitely. But, all of us have blind zones. Like, I'm a chemist. I'm pretty good at like sciencey stuff. But my mom is an artist. She's not very good at sciencey stuff. So sometimes she sent me these links of charlatans are trying to use chemistry knowledge, and she says, like, is it true? And I can say, no, that's charlatanism. But for me, it's easy because I'm trained in sciences. But sometimes, we have blind spot in things that we were not trained with. Like my mom is a very smart individual. She has 2 higher educations in arts, but she can have a blind spot about any other things, and that's what Russia is exploiting. If they cannot get in this way, they'll get in that way, and they're relentless.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why don't we get into the news, and then I love this conversation, and we'll get to talking about this topic a little bit later.
Absolutely.
So this week there were massive drone strikes on Kiev and Ukrainian energy infrastructure. From October 5th to 11th, Russia launched a series of massive drone and missile attacks. 1,523 drones and 93 missiles in 1 week. 5 civilians dead, 18 injured across 9 regions. 73,000 homes without power in Zaporizhia. On October 10th, Kiev was hit hard. 32 missiles and 465 drones. 20 people were wounded. There are now water shortages, thermal plants damaged. The air defense shot down 405 drones and 15 missiles. Zelensky said this is psychological pressure, calculated terror, because the targets are civilian infrastructure, gas plants, hospitals. Also, there's danger around the Zaporizhia nuclear plant. It's on its emergency generators. Russia trying to knock out heating before the winter. That's what they've always been doing in the full scale since it started. Zelensky said this is terrorism and energy imports from Russia now. There needs to be action. US, UK, Germany components were found in Russian weapons, by the way. And EU's Kaja Kallas said tear to cover for failed offensives, basically. So, Johnny, what do you think about all this? You think that there's pressure on Russia from Western leaders, or we're just gonna keep doing this dance over and over?
I'll just pretend I'm Commander Macmillan for a second. So from the point of strategic warfare, of military action, all these strikes on civilian infrastructure, they don't make any sense. They're not going to help Russia win, not at all. However, it is a terrorism. it's exactly like Zelensky said. Russia is trying to to make Ukrainians feel like they are forgotten, like the world doesn't care about them, like they cannot win, like this will be forever. Sometimes it's hard to see the bright ahead. You know, when you have to realize how scary it is, like how even though like we understand that that's not going to change anything on the battlefield. Russia is losing, they're losing their you know, infrastructure, gasoline shortages everywhere, 1 million soldiers wounded and killed.
It's actually
This
more now, which is a huge story, but we'll get into it later. A
It's
lot
getting
more.
more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot more.
And it's easy to dismiss these strikes because Russia is spending up to $500 million to $1 billion dollars for each night of these strikes. And you're like, oh, Russia is not going to achieve anything. But every night it's 3 dead, it's 2 dead, it's 1 dead, it's 8 dead, it's 20 wounded, 25 wounded, it's destruction of property, it's people are you know, helping, you know, helping the wounded, burying their loved ones, um, restoring the property, rebuilding, trying to start the life anew. It's devastating. It's heartbreaking on a personal level. It's eating away at people, at their confidence, at their happiness. It's terrorizing. Um, it's very scary, and Ukrainians need all of our support more than ever right now. Just a warm word, you know, just your little Ukrainian flag on your avatar, you know, just something that they can go online and see. We're not forgotten. You know, we're still here. We're still fighting the good fight. By the way, Ukraine is protecting all of the world right now. I'm so confident of this. With this terror that they have to endure, you know. So like, even though it's easy to dismiss all this, like, let's not dismiss it. Let's appreciate the horrors that Ukrainians have to endure every night. They go to sleep and they don't know if they will wake, you know. So many videos we've seen where they're standing, you know, trying to stay away from the windows, and there's this sound of a shahed drone, or a giran, as freaking Russians are calling it, you know. And it's a huge rocket with wings and with a motorcycle engine. It's a very primitive technology that's terrorizing. How many are they sending? Like 500 per night, 300 per night, 100 per night. It doesn't matter. Each one will destroy a building, may destroy a life, uh, get somebody wounded, killed, create all kinds of terror.
Yeah. Well, Ukraine isn't sitting still because Ukraine is fighting back. And Ukraine is fighting back by taking out Russia's oil refineries. From the past week, there was quite a few that were taken out. Uh, Kirishi refinery was hit. This is in Leningrad Oblast. It's quite a list. It's very impressive list. So just bear with me. Uh, then last week as well, Tumen and Perm strikes, the drone strikes on Siberian refinery. Plus, there was explosive chemical plant there as well. And keep in mind, there's no casualties here. Ukraine is doing it very, very carefully, not killing Russian civilians, as Russia is doing to Ukraine. Next was a Fedosia terminal fire, which is in Crimea. There was a huge, large-scale fire, and the impact is absolutely brilliant. 21 out of 38 Russian refineries hit. This is in 2025, which is 48% more than 2024. Refining down one, uh, diesel exports are right now at a 5-year low. Gas shortages in Far East, Siberia, Caucasus, Crimea as well. Prices are up 10 to 11%. And yeah, Putin is hurting. Russia is hurting. I mean, we've been talking about how they're lining up for gas, huge lines. Like you go down like half an hour of the video itself, not how long you have to wait. I'm sure they wait all day, if anything. And Zelensky says, crush their oil industry to force negotiation, and that's Ukraine's tactic. It's a pretty damn good one.
And it's working. There are two ways to do this. Ukraine has been asking from day one, let's have really good, meaningful sanctions. And to a point, Western countries have tried to implement these sanctions. I know Biden on day one, they stopped buying. United States stopped buying oil from Russia, which was 3% of all the oil that was coming into United States. Of course, that hurt Russia, but Russia is very good at adapting. By the way, it also hurt United States because our oil prices, our gas prices went up because of that. We didn't have any shortages, but we had to readjust. Anytime when you implement sanctions, like you're trying to stop a genocide, you're trying to stop this war. And Biden did the right thing. But at the same time, Russia used this as an information tactic to mobilize all of the Republicans to say, look, Biden is working against United States interest. Like he raised the prices of oil. He stopped buying from Russia. Russia is not our enemy. Now we have to pay more money for gas. And that tactic has continued throughout, the America First messages that we've heard. Let's forget about like hurting Russia. Let's forget about fighting for Ukrainian cause. Even though it's not a Ukrainian cause, we have the biggest military conflict since World War II in the middle of Europe. Europe is our allies. Ukraine is our allies. We're helping our allies. We have signed documents and agreements, Budapest Memorandum and others with Ukraine, with Europe. We have to protect because it's us. It's not, this is a modern world. There is no a wall between us and them. First they destroy our neighbors, then they come and destroy us. If they don't destroy us physically, they destroy us by uniting, by making their alliances with China, with North Korea, with India, and kick us out. And we're going to be struggling. We're going to have price increases without Biden over here. So that's what's going on.
It's in United States' best interest to help Ukraine win this war, and that goes, for the oil as well and gas prices. And I think we're getting there. Trump kind of knows this now, and of course, last week Trump said Ukraine can win everything back, which was great.
That was huge.
It was huge. I know it's some people are like, oh, he's just saying that and there won't be anything
Well,
to
let
come
him
from
just
it.
say that then.
Exactly. But it's huge. The fact that he's saying that, I've seen right-wing media open up, starting to invite Ukrainians, like Ukrainian defenders, to do interviews with them. So the shift is happening where MAGA is like, oh, maybe we were wrong. Not all, of course, but yeah, that's because Trump has made this pivot. Now
Good,
it's
very
important
good.
that Trump has been saying he sort of made a decision on tomahawks, but we shouldn't be too hard on US, because US is actually sharing intel on the Russian energy targets. So Ukraine is getting quite a bit. of that
So all
intel.
these strikes that Ukraine is doing, Russia, United States helps us identify the targets, right?
Yeah, they share whatever info. Obviously, like we won't know, but intelligence sharing, as a Ukrainian defender said, is it's everything, and
Yes,
America has
very
played
important.
a huge part because when like Trump was threatening aid to Ukraine, um, they actually stopped the intelligence sharing for I forget, maybe like it was a week there, and that was really bad. So the worst thing that United States can do is take away that intel sharing, and that's really important. And I'm pretty sure Elon Musk's Starlink is part of that connection as well that goes into the intel sharing, unfortunately.
Yes, it's true. And people have floated the idea that Musk can turn it off at any time. He
Yeah,
already did turn off Starlinks at the beginning of the war a couple times, right?
twice. He did it twice. The big one, of course, was
At the request of Putin. So Putin asked him,
yeah.
do it, do it, do it. Like, and this idiot, he did it. Like a dictator is trying not to make my genocide harder for me by helping a much smaller nation know that we're trying to strike them, right? And he did it. It's incredible.
Well, it's not only that. Russia is using Starlink for to kill Ukrainians for their connection as well.
They have Starlink as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen them. They're like the volunteers in Russia. They're like, "Oh, we're getting ready. We're getting ready to buy another Starlink. Please donate here." I'm like, "Are they using Starlink as well?" You know. And by the way, you have to understand that Elon Musk can turn off that particular Starlink that Russians are buying, like with his finger. He can go into his computer and just turn off that Russian Starlink, and he's choosing not to do that. And Russians, when they're buying it, they're investing a lot of money because they're not cheap, um, and they know exactly that Elon Musk is an ally. By the way, the X platform is completely run over by Russian bots. Elon Musk is not doing anything to stop that. All the Russian information and propaganda is rampant on X platform, which his AI bot Grok confirmed. And Elon Musk being retweeting or reacting, whatever, all that stuff, he's the biggest provider of misinformation. Um, Again, that's all confirmed by his AI Grok machine, whatever the robot, the super brain, whatever you want to call that. Yeah, it's not
Grok
the
is
war.
actually not bad. Like Grok has been defiant to Elon Musk,
Yeah,
um, being like, "You're the number one bullshitter. You created
yeah,
me, but
and
not
he's been
anymore."
asked like, aren't you afraid that you're speaking against your creator? He says, yeah, but I still want to say the truth.
Yeah. And actually, I use Grok as well, like ChatGPT, and I look for like what when it comes to Russian invasion of Ukraine, and Grok is fairly it does really well in terms of keeping Russian propaganda out for now. So I'm not mad at Grok, to Elon Musk.
Yeah, Russian propaganda is rampant. Have you, at the time when Donald Trump, he stopped intelligence sharing with Ukraine at that time, remember that he gave order to United States, we have our own counter cyber army to counter Russian cyber invasions into United States. He pulled them all off and he said, I don't want to have this warlike attitude towards my friend Putin. So, as an act of goodwill, he stopped all of the counterterrorism that we were doing to stop Russian intelligence, like cyber attacks, actually, on United States. So he left us completely defenseless. As far as I know, he never went back to. He never reverted that decision. We're completely naked over here.
Yeah, actually, Russia did hack United States pretty bad. Sometime after that, I forget now what there was some like I think it was right before when Trump met Putin in Alaska, and the night before, Russia hacked United States, and it was pretty big. And you know what Trump said to that? He was like, "Oh, that's just Russia. That's what they do."
Yeah, they're just attacking us. They're just destroying us. They're destroying our institutions. They are promoting the people who will repeat their lies to the highest levels of our government. You know, they're just doing genocide. That's normalizing the evil. You know, that's the art of the deal. You know, the best person to make a
I'd
deal
say
with.
it's more like treason. Like if you're looking away from like terrorism that Russia is doing, that's insane to be like, yeah, fine, that's just what they do. And I gotta say, most of hacking attacks on United States, and it happens more often than not, um, come from Russian hacker cyber groups. Like it's insane, and there's been huge hacks. I remember last year, all the health insurance health systems were hacked. So now, after that, there was a huge shutdown for a couple of weeks, and nobody could get like their prescriptions or anything from pharmacies. It was pretty. It made a dent basically, and it it fucked with our lives here in the United States quite a bit. But no one is blaming Russia. Everyone's just blaming these like medical companies or insurance companies for it. But I'm trying to remember
Yeah,
what are
blame the victim. Like, why blame the criminal, right? Let's blame the victim of the crime. The insurance companies did not do enough to not be stopped by the greatest cyber army in the world that's openly attacking and saying like, we will destroy you. And Trump is lifting all the protection that we had in place, that we were working so hard. It takes the greatest minds in this industry, and they have to be constantly working on this, because the cyber threats are invasive, they're pervasive, they're never stopping. All I
yeah.
can say on this is, when Russia collapses, the world will know peace. 90 Over 90% of all the world terrorism, wars, everything that's going on in the world right now, all around the world, is caused by Russia. People don't realize how much of these terrorist organizations are supported just directly by Russian money. With all the gas and oil that people are buying around the world, thank God it's less and less right now, thanks to Ukraine. Hamas, any kind of terrorist organization. Russia was paying to Taliban when United States were there to kill. They were paying for each killed Ukrainian soldiers. They were paying them money. They are inviting any kind of terrorists to Moscow and St. Petersburg, either openly or under wraps, to give them guidance, to give them support, to send them back so that they can continue terrorism around the world.
Um, I
Defeat
actually
Russia, and we will know peace.
have you seen? Did have a breakdown on this, but Lavrov, they yeah. So Lavrov he backed Taliban this past week, and this was on October 7th, which is, guys, that's Putin's birthday. So Russia hosted a summit, and Lavrov praised the Taliban for fighting ISIS and curbing the drug trafficking. Uh,
Mhm.
it's so ridiculous. He called on the West to also lift sanctions and officially recognize the Taliban regime. I can't read this with a straight face. I'm sorry, guys, but it's um, Taliban leadership called it an unprecedented opportunity to strengthen ties with Moscow, especially uh, amidst the U.S. disengagement. This
U.S.
is and
disengagement. That's
yeah.
the whole Trump's term should be called that. U.S. disengagement.
Yeah. This is, it should be like disengagement. Sorry, America first. Disengage.
Every kind of protest, every uprising in Europe, in United States, there are traces of Russians in everyone. Uh, January 6th, the Capitol, there were a bunch of Russians there with guidance, with things to do, with lists, with money they were giving out. The uprising of the Yellow Jackets in Paris. Before that, there was Russian speech heard on the streets. They didn't even know French. They were just sent there by trains, by planes, by any kind of way they could get in there. And they participated in what looked like French people uprising against their government. They were trashing windows of the stores. They were burning cars, flipping over cars. That's what Russians are doing. Everything that's happening right now, it does not happen without Russian involvement. Like, even if it's genuinely you guys are doing something, like if something it's you believe in, Russia is going to try to have a hand in that and try to create more division, more chaos, more fires, whatever they can do, whatever they can get away with. And we should be mindful of that.
Absolutely. Do you want to do frontline updates? No, we didn't kind of have it talk rehearsed, but
Which updates? Can you repeat?
frontline updates.
Frontline updates, absolutely. Do you want me to do that, or you got it?
You can do it. I was just thinking now we can have maps and we can maybe pull up deep state.
I wish you could do it, actually, because I thought you will do it, so I didn't prepare. But I'll look for good images to complement your story.
Oh, you want me to do the updates or pull
Yeah,
up the map?
I'll pull up the map.
Oh, okay, I can do it. Yeah.
I know Ukraine is kicking ass.
Yeah. Actually gained
Thank you,
some
Ukraine.
territory back. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Are you pulling up the map?
Big time.
Big time. Yeah, I think deep state they have the best maps. It's,
Can you see this?
yep.
BBC, Ukraine in maps.
Oh, that's what. Okay. All right. Cool. So from this week, frontline maps. We have Kupiansk, which Russia infiltrated Zalote Kolodez, First Guards Tank Army. Ukraine repelled 12 attacks near Konstantinivka. Go Ukraine. In
There's
Liman.
Konstantinivka right there.
Yep, there it is. Then we go to Liman and Siversk. That's where
That's got to
Russia.
be in Kherson area, right? So we have Kupiansk over here.
This wasn't like coordinated at all, as you guys can tell, but it was quite challenging.
We're working on the fly.
I think it's more interesting when there's maps and you can see.
Definitely.
You know, can you pull up deep state? It will be very much easier. Or let me see if I can do it quickly. Okay, never mind. All right, let me just run through this. But yeah, Liman and Siversk, Russia advanced near Yampil and Dranivka. Ukraine is holding near Hlinivka and Serebryanka. In Prokrovsk, Russia gained in Zoloty Kolodязь and Shakov. Ukraine reclaimed 180 square kilometers and forced 3,500 Russians to retreat. So go Ukraine. Russian infantry casualties is up to 30% in September. And also they destroyed Gruer UGVs and extended deep drone kill zones. In Velikhalivka, yeah, sorry, this crazy name. Russia attacked Verbovie and Vyshivnya, but Ukraine retook Sosnivka and Verbovie. In Zaporozhye, Russia infiltrated Novokharivka. Ukraine countered near Malinivka and strikes in Poltavka. In Kherson, Ukraine controls 1,170 square kilometers.
Here we have Kherson.
Yeah, Kherson is it's where Russians hunt Ukrainians with drones.
Yeah, because they're just separated by the Dnipro River.
Yeah.
So the left side of Dnipro, it's all Russians, and the right side is Ukrainian territory. So they just fly over the river with drones and just attack civilians. Another terrorist activity that they're just doing, and they're kind of parading it like they're happy that they're doing this.
Yeah, well, they actually get like incentives. Like if you hit a game, it's really disturbing. They get incentives. Like if you hit a family like in a car, they get paid more. They get some kind of points.
It's sick.
Yeah, they
We
call it
cannot
human
just
safari.
Yeah, it's a human safari. We cannot stay ignorant of this. This is despicable.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you seen photos? Maybe we can pull up. It actually looks pretty insane. But since the war is now all
Photos
about
what exactly?
nets around the roads.
Oh, in Kherson?
Yeah, because now it's all about drone warfare, and both sides, Russia and Ukraine, they started putting up nets to protect from drones.
Yeah. Well, I do have kind of the image there. Basically, this is the road in Kherson. The drone is just a never mind the drone, but in the back you can see that the road is completely covered with nets. That way the drone cannot get through, so cars can safely pass, at least in this instance. And that's kind of what it looks like. That's the reality on the ground in Kherson. That's when you have, this is how they install the nets. You can see that the truck is over there, kind of, just pulling them up over the trees. So again, the cars can safely travel over here. That's what the nets look like.
By the way,
You can
thank
see.
you to Sweden and Baltic countries, because these are actually, well, some of them are fishing nets, which they donated to Ukraine to use it against drones now.
Thank you, guys. It takes everyone to fight this evil that's happening right now. And Ukraine is very thankful to all these countries. Yeah, this is the reality. That's what you get for having a neighbor who is a effed in the head, so to speak, and likes to kill you. Yeah, that's the reality. That's how Khersonians. This is your life. Can you imagine this? That's how Khersonians get out to get some bread, to get the kids to school. There's a bus over there. There's a
But we
you
should
know
actually get used to seeing these images, because if Russia is not stopped and it's going to keep going with drone warfare, it's just going to get bigger and crazier. That's how roads, I'm going to say, in Europe will need to look like if Ukraine falls.
yeah, if you don't push back, this is not going to stop with Ukraine. We've been saying that from day one. So that's the initial stages of how they do it. They put all these wooden poles. I guess that saves on cost. You can see that these wooden poles are nothing fancy. It's just a way to hold them up. That's all you need. Just enough clearance so the trucks, the buses, the cars can get under it and without being blown up. Of course, you cannot do it everywhere. You cannot just close the sky everywhere. There's still some areas that are exposed. And wherever they are exposed, Russians will exploit those areas and they will still hit the targets. But at least you can cover some of those approaches where, this is how they test it. So this is Ukrainians. They're sending out a test drone and they're testing it whether it can actually penetrate the net. And you can see that the net is safely blocking the drone, the test drone. Of course, this is not a real explosive. It's just a bottle of water. But this is just to test if it works. That's how it looks like when the drone is caught in the net. That's about it.
Yeah, that's about it for the front lines. I did pull up the deep state map. Let me just share it. I'll do it, just show it real quick. All right, you guys can see it?
I can see it.
So here, obviously in red, these are Russians where they're pushing. This is where the heavy fighting is. Oh, this navigation is weird. Sorry, guys. Okay. Next time, it'll be beautiful, this presentation.
I have a question in the chat. Broadcast Cat is asking about Anna Paulina Luna. So this is a lady that's repeating Russian propaganda. And she's going to meet with Trump, or she's an American politician.
Hold on. Whoa. That's a stretch, calling her a politician. She was a beauty queen, this chick.
Well, that's what the U.S. politics is right now.
I wouldn't call it so much for
so
beauty.
She's serving as a U.S. representative for Florida's 13th congressional district since 2023. She's a member of the Republican Party. She's the first Mexican-American woman elected to Congress from Florida. Do you know anything about her? Because
I know that she's she probably gets paid by the Kremlin, because her propaganda is like all of Kremlin's talking points, and the stupidest ones too, against Ukraine. That's about it. I just said to myself, ignore her stuff, but she's just
I'm gonna ask
not very bright.
AI.
It's almost like the stupidity level is like Tucker Carlson kind of talking points about Ukraine.
So, according to AI, there is no publicly available evidence or official confirmation that US Representative Anna Paulina Luna is paid by Russia. However, it is reported that she is planning to meet with Russian envoy Kirill Dmitriev. Never meet with any Russian envoy ever. In October 2025. So she is going to meet this month with him to discuss conversations of peace and trade. There is no peace with Russia. You're just going to be fooled, and then you're going to pay the price in your dignity and everything else between U.S. and Russia. So she's going to discuss peace and trade between U.S. and Russia. Really bad idea. Representative Luna has also consistently opposed U.S. aid to Ukraine. Of course, why
But
would you
sorry,
help our allies?
Broadcast Cat is saying that she's meeting with Putin actually.
It says here she's meeting with the Russian envoy, but Russian envoy is gonna talk to Putin because that's Russian strategy.
Yeah,
Russia is
I
interested.
don't think she would meet with Putin like he meets with like Trump, you know. For her to meet with Putin and so publicly, Putin wouldn't do that. At least make like a scene of it. Putin wants, you know.
Yeah, that's this is a treason. This is an act of treason. People who are attacking us, who are destroying us, who are um, uh, getting together with our enemies, who are saying they will destroy us, helping China get drone warfare up and running with the latest lessons learned from the battlefield in Ukraine, giving North Korea nuclear and missile capabilities reaching United States and California coasts that North Korea has boasted about. That's our enemies. Meeting with our enemies who are paying everyone to meet with them right now. And if I have hard time believing she's doing it for free, why would you do something for free when they will, like, if I come to you and say, listen, I will pay you $1 million, but you can also do it for free, will you choose to do it for free? No. Russia is they've been caught giving $500 million in cardboard boxes to people in Moldova just recently. Although that money was wasted ultimately, but that's what Russia is doing. So
You know
Russia
what?
is
Russia probably requested her because um, Russia wants some kind of like a trade deal from or with United States, and she's not that bright, and obviously on Russia's side. So I think they like requested her and be like, we'll meet, but with her, and she of course repeats because she repeats Russian propaganda. It's
so
easy to
what's happening is Russia is probing for weaknesses.
yeah.
Russia is probing for weak people within our society, for politicians without a backbone, without a definitive voice against the evils that are happening, who don't care if we're siding with our allies or enemies. And this is obviously this person, the Anna Paulina Luna. She has no backbone. She has no understanding of international politics. She will deal with our enemies. She will throw our allies under the bus or under a Russian drone, under a Russian missile, as is the case. She will. She doesn't care about all the things that we've done. We suffered in the United States. We didn't buy Russian oil since the beginning of the full-scale invasion. We had to readjust our markets. She will throw all that progress if it's up to her. Hopefully, it's not up to her. Hopefully, we have good politicians in the United States. We have Democrats still who are not so heavily infiltrated by Russia. But you have to understand that Russia is trying to infiltrate everyone. Russia will infiltrate Democrats. Russia will infiltrate anyone they get their hands off. They can get their hands off. If they can have us teacher in your local elementary school spewing Russian propaganda, Russia will do that. There's no task too small or too large for Russia. And this is just one example, Anna Paulina Luna. That's what we have in every country in Europe right now, in Germany, in Czech Republic, in Moldova, in Ukraine. We have that same thing in Ukraine. We have Ukrainian politicians, but by Russia. And until they can do some damage, until they're removed from power, we have to listen to things like this, like Anna Paulina Luna. And then once they're removed from power, they usually run away to Russia. And then Russia is using that to say, listen, Zelensky is a dictator. He's fighting opposition. He's not a democratic leader, you know? Do you think this is a good pivot to talk about what happened in Lithuania scandal?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's talk about that, and then we'll talk about actually and Angela Merkel, what she had said this past week, which is
Oh
crazy.
my God.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm already not looking forward to that because it's painful, but we have to talk about that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some good news right now. Lithuania is very close to Russia. Lithuania feels and understands the dangers that Russia is posing, and they're holding the front. They're doing good. However, like any country in the world right now, Russia is attacking Ukraine. They're buying their politicians. So just last week, on October 4th, there was a scandal where a prominent Lithuanian politician, Ignatas Adamavičius, he failed. We Ukrainians call it the Crimea test. We've been doing it for 10 years plus, right? So what we do is we want to quickly find out who you are. We ask you, is Ukraine Crimean or Russian? Russia doesn't forgive. Russia doesn't forgive you for calling Crimea Ukrainian. It's an unforgivable sin. It's like Harry Potter style of, like, there's Voldemort does not forgive certain things. You cannot call Crimea Ukrainian if you're trying to deal on a sly, on a down low. You're trying to deal with Russia. If you're vaguely associated with Russia, you have to kind of being vague. So on interview on October 3rd in 2025, during an interview with the Lithuanian news portal Iritas, Adamavičius was asked about the legal status of Crimea. It's a very simple question. According to every document in the world, according to UN, to every document signed by Russia, by every country on the planet, Crimea is Ukraine. It's very easy to answer. He was unable to provide a clear answer and instead called the question provocative. So this caused a widespread public backlash. Thank you, Lithuanians. We should all learn from this. This Anna, Luna, whatever person, she should face the same backlash, but we're not there yet. We're not like Lithuanians. We should strive to be like Lithuanians. So there was a backlash, and they put the pressure on Adamavičius to resign. The next day, President Gitanas Nausėda officially signed the decree to finalize the minister's dismissal. They dismissed him. After leaving his post, Adamavičius stated that Crimea belongs to Ukraine, but is unfortunately occupied. When asked why he had not said that earlier, he said that journalists' question had been incorrectly phrased. So he blamed the journalist or misunderstanding. That's what they all do. So the thing is, this person is a Russian supporter. He is in, unfortunately, he's in Lithuanian parliament. You cannot be a Russian supporter in Lithuania like this Anna Luna person. You cannot be openly like that. You have to vaguely, very vaguely support Russia. Like say, oh, maybe, there's peace. Maybe we can find a peaceful deal. Maybe let's not fight with Russia. You have to be very, very vague. However, Lithuanian society, they're watching for those activities. If you're vaguely friendly with Russia, they understand Russia has spent money. They're paying you, they're buying you, they're pushing you up the ranks in Lithuanian government. So they push this person all the way to Minister of Culture. He has been at that post only 1 week. He's been at that post. And Lithuanian society, they noticed that he's not saying all the right thing. There was no reason for that Lithuanian lady to ask him this question about whether Crimea is Russian or Ukrainian. It had nothing to do with his post. It had nothing to do with the matter of the discussion. However, that's what we call a Crimea test. Everybody should do this test. Just ask a politician, ask somebody. Like Trump is not going to pass this test. If you ask Trump, oh, is Crimea Russian or Ukraine? He's going to mumble. He's going to say, well, there is a history. We don't know. At some point, it was Soviet Union. Right now, they're occupied. So he's not going to give you a straight answer. There's only one correct answer. Crimea is Ukraine. It's occupied by Russia. It's factually correct, supported by every document ever signed by any country on the planet, including Russia. So that's what happens, and big props to Lithuanians. This is a lesson learned for all of us. That's what every country should do. Otherwise, we're not going to survive this.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just getting ready the next segment so I can show some images. But in the meantime, should we talk about Angela Merkel?
Oh my God, the freaking cow. I mean, she's been in bed with Russians for decades. She's very friendly with Russia, with Putin. This is like the face that, oh, let's understand Putin. Like, why is he actually doing the genocide? Or what did he say? Let's get over this. Let's get this over with.
By the way, she looks awful. There's some photos that came out of her. She looks.
I mean, she's getting older.
Yeah, no, but this is like unrecognizable, kind of different.
Russia will take her. As long as you spew Russian propaganda, you look great to Russians.
Yeah, no, she looks like a homeless person. I wish I had a photo of her because I don't know.
That's what everyone should look when they spew Russian propaganda.
All right. Well, so Angela Merkel said this past week that Poland and the Baltics blocked her 2021 plan for direct EU negotiations with Putin. She suggested Russia might not have invaded if Europe had shown unity. And she also made some crazy claims that COVID made Putin more isolated and radicalized. The Polish foreign minister Sierkowski blasted her completely and said she has blood on her hands, which she does, absolutely.
Yep.
A lot. And Estonia also accused her of rewriting history and excusing imperialism, which this comes because also from this past week, she also said that Poland and during World War II, that it's Poland's and the Baltics' fault that they got invaded.
Yeah.
By
Again,
like
this is so Russian. If you support Russia, you quickly shift to victim blaming. You have to, right? Because Russia is such an aggressor, they just kill, attack, destroy. So if you have to support Russia, you have to do victim blaming, right? So this is exactly what's happening. That's one of the things you have to watch out for. If you like the world where criminals don't get accountable for anything, sure, support Russia. This is exactly what you're going to get. The people who got attacked are to blame for being attacked. She's saying it in like direct speech. Look at her. She looks a little bit like Trump, right?
Yeah, I see it a little bit.
Agent Krasnov on an international mission.
Yeah.
Just change the clothing a little bit, and you're good to go. Gee, what a cow!
All
I
right.
mean, that's what we have to fight with. That's what's happening right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, I just swear these guys, all these old guys, they're gonna live for like 50 years that more that we're gonna have to deal with. These guys are, it seems like they're never going away.
Until Russia is destroyed, we're gonna have to deal with all kinds of crazy things like this. As soon as Russia is collapsed, we're gonna see we're gonna enter a golden age. There's gonna be no almost no terrorism. All of the wars are gonna subside. Uh, all of our intelligence is gonna be like having days off and stuff like that. We're gonna have a golden age for a long while when Russia is collapsing. I'll drink to that if you don't mind.
Well, why don't we talk about some pretty amazing news? Ukrainian F-16 Ace shoots down 6 Russian missiles with only 4 of his own. That's pretty incredible, if you ask me.
Yeah, I read that. I forgot, how did he do that? Why? How come only 4 missiles? Do you have any
Yeah, yeah,
details?
yeah. So a Ukrainian F-16 pilot set a new air defense record. He downed 6 Russian cruise missiles in a single sortie using just 4 missiles and his onboard cannon.
Okay,
There was, I mean, there goes kind of, they give us a play-by-play how he did it, but
because he did something very smart. Like
so
I
yeah,
don't remember.
this happened during a mission. This was back in December 13th.
Uh-huh.
During a massive Russian attack, 200 drones were attacking and 94 cruise missiles at the time. So there was another pilot, Pilot A, his name is not revealed, scrambled first and vectored by GCI into the kill box, fired 4 air-to-air missiles and downed 4 cruise missiles. Then got 2 more cruising missiles that were approaching Kiev. Out of the missiles, he switched to his M61 Vulcan 20 millimeter gun.
Yeah, so that's a machine gun that's on his front.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and
Okay, that
yeah,
makes
and
sense.
close to 500 meters and shot down both with cannon fire. First time done in Ukrainian airspace, basically. He dedicated the flight to a fallen comrade, Alexei Moonfish, who died while intercepting missiles earlier. He credits Western training, gear, such as Patriots, Iris-Ts, etc., and the new mental shift in Ukrainian pilots as well. But yeah, even when missiles run out, Ukraine's pilots are improvising and turning cannons into missile killers.
Yeah,
That's
this is
guts.
like,
If you ask me,
yeah,
that's guts, skill, and innovation.
scale, yeah, innovation, and also it's like level World War II kind of heroism, when you can see that the missiles are, you don't have any missiles left, and the enemy bombs are still flying towards your city. You understand there are children there, there are women, there are hospital. Usually Russia hits those. Russia prefers to hit hospital, like a shopping center, a gas station, anything that regular people are using. So, and what are you gonna do? Let's destroy Russia, and we can start shooting great Hollywood movies about Ukrainian heroism, about people shooting four, using 4 missiles to down 6 enemy drones, missiles, whatnot.
Yeah. Why don't we move on to talking about some of the missiles? I know, John, you've been looking forward to talking about Ukrainian missiles. And yeah, this past week also, what Ukraine achieved is 25,000 rockets brought down Russia's, was it Kinzhal 69 stealth cruise missile. And Ukraine used a low-cost laser-guided rocket to shoot down Russia's Kinzhal stealth cruise missile, proving cheap tech can beat expensive threats as well. Also incredible. I mean, Ukraine's tech is. I'm looking forward to where it's go once they start using some of these missiles.
That's what Palyanytsia missile looks like. Beautiful. Right now, there's currently 6 main Ukrainian missiles that Ukraine is using. This one is called Palyanytsia. Palyanytsia is a great word because this is how we test that the person doesn't speak Ukrainian. If you cannot speak Ukrainian, you cannot, well, if you're Russian, you cannot pronounce this word, basically. And it became a meme. Russians cannot, for the life of them, they cannot pronounce it. It
That's
became
how
a meme.
Ukrainians, because you said earlier that like we check if they're Russian or not. We ask like really quick, who is this Crimea, and then say Palinitsa.
Yeah, you're not gonna
No,
pass that test.
no,
Slavy is in trouble here.
Palinitsa.
Palyanytsia. But anyway, it's hard to pronounce if you're not a native Ukrainian speaker. So yeah, if we want to see, like, you could be like Polish person or American or anywhere in the world, and we just ask you like, who's this Crimea? And it's such a good test. Any normal person with dignity, with a good conscience, should pass it easily. Just say, Crimea is Ukraine, and you're done. I mean, it's easy to, and it's you're correct. You're factually correct. Um, you can say it's occupied by Russia because that's also true, but it's a Ukrainian territory. Nobody can deny that. And Palyanytsia, that's just to, because Russians, they will pretend to be a Ukrainian sometimes, like especially in a war zone. They can, say, "Oh, I'm one of you" or something, and they can start shooting. So you just say Palyanytsia really quick, and if you cannot, you're done. So that's one of the rockets that Ukraine is using. Another one is Neptune. That rocket was famous for downing Moscow flagship, the Russian warship called Moscow.
The
Moskva,
ship.
yeah, in the first days of the war. It's also associated with the great phrase that the defender of Snake Island said to the operator of the Russian warship. When the Russian operator, he said, "This is Russian warship. We recommend you lay down your weapons, otherwise we'll fire." And that guy said, "Russian warship, go fuck yourself." And that's how the war started. That was like the first 2 or 3 hours of the war. That's how it started. That's how it's going.
Ukraine's
Quickly,
famous words.
yeah, great, famous. I have a stamp. I have a stamp with that
I have
thing.
the stamp too.
Yeah. I gave it to my dad. My dad is an avid stamp collector. So Neptune missile, it took 2 Neptune missiles to down that ship. It's right now a submarine on the bottom of Black Sea. The next one, we have a Ukrainian Peklo missile. Peklo missile, it's again, it's like this long-range drone. It kind of looks
You actually
like a
say that the Russian way, peklo, isn't it like peklo?
Peklo.
Peklo.
Sorry, maybe I'm an agent. Maybe we should get rid of both me and Slavi.
Yeah, we failed the
we
test.
we we might be compromised, guys. I'm so
At
sorry.
least we know how it should sound like. There's.
So this is it. Pekla missile. It's just a smaller version um, of Flamingo, so it seems. Um, but it's a great thing. Ukraine is using a lot of these. They're
Are you?
very
Are you?
good.
Sorry. Are you showing it right now? Because I can't see it on the
I
screen.
was, but I stopped.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
So then we have a Sapsan missile. I just want to show the different things that
Yeah.
Ukraine is doing because it's really cool. And by the way, some of these missiles are, they're made by like mom and pop shops. So it's like two friends, they got together, they have a great idea. Well, Sapsan looks like really complex. Maybe it's not like a mom and pop shop, but so that's what Sapsan looks like. It's a really cool a missile. I don't have all the technical specs right now, but it's kind of like a reminiscent of what HIMARS look like, what HIMARS are doing. So it's fired from a truck of a truck platform, and so that's like a Ukrainian version of HIMARS. Um, and the most used missile right now, or a drone, um, because it's like a long scale drone, it's called FP1. But 60% of all the strikes on Russia is done with FP1 drone. This is not any kind of secret. Everybody already knows about what's going on. So we can show this. That's what it looks like. FP1. It's like a small unmanned plane with some wings that's gonna fly. It's a long range flyer. It can fly a long range. And
By the way,
yeah,
the Neptune cruise missile uh, that Ukraine is actually developing as well, but the new one, the the new long range cruise missile is actually outpacing European capabilities and kind of
yeah,
filling in the gaps in its kind of strike capacity, because Neptune's range performance surpass many European designed cruise missile systems. And Europe's defense industries have logged into producing long range strikes weapons within the allied frameworks. But yeah, Ukraine, as we know, Ukraine has been wanting sovereign strike capacity to strike inside Russia to targets. And hopefully that happens and Western leaders stop shaking in their boots and listening to Putin's threats.
yeah, because it's ridiculous. Ukraine has to ask permission. They say, look, we're being killed over here. Can we have a missile? Can we have any help? Can you help us, guys? Can we strike Russia? They're killing us. It's a genocide. Can we? So I'm
Especially
reading
now that Ukraine has proven, like, Ukraine doesn't strike civilian targets. They're all
exactly.
super strategic. When Russia, all what it strikes is civilians, sleeping civilians, hospitals, schools, kindergartens, civilian infrastructure, which is what's happening now, um, so that Ukrainians will be left in the cold. These are all war crimes. What Ukraine
Yeah,
wants to do is take out actual military targets that will hurt Russia in its efforts to basically kill Ukrainians and economic efforts as well. So, and Ukraine has proved it over and over and over again. And meanwhile, the West, European leaders um, are paralyzed because I don't know, because of Putin's or Russia's threats, constant
And
threats.
also, there's all kinds of meddling of Russian money, Russian influence in all of these countries. So each government right now has Russian sympathizers. There's no government on the planet that doesn't have Russian agents inside, Russian sympathizers, Russian people who are vowing for to support Russia. All of this is paid by Russia. Russia pays handsomely. They don't have money to pay their pensions to people who worked their whole life in Russia. They're scrambling on like less than $100 per month, but they do have millions of dollars to give away if you want to be a Russian supporter. Don't do this. Ukraine will win, but your name and your conscience is going to be tarnished forever. We should be like Lithuanians. We should oppose anyone who is showing any kind of support to Russia. It's supporting of genocide. There's absolutely black and white difference between the two sides. It's not like there's no both sides to any of this. It's very easy to take a stance and support Ukraine. By the way, if you guys want financial prosperity, if you guys want United States to do good, support Ukraine. Because when what Biden was doing, when we were sending supposedly we were sending money to Ukraine, we were actually investing in United States military industrial complex. The companies right here, they were hiring people. There was lots of jobs, new jobs available because we were making things that we were sending to Ukraine. We were replenishing our own stocks. We were investing into new research and development. All of that gave boost to our companies, to our economy over here in the United States. Um, so either you want to support Russia and a couple people will get millions of dollars and become rich, or you support Ukraine and our whole country becomes rich, our whole country becomes successful. So do you want to have like two or three people with no conscience, with questionable morals to become rich and famous overnight? Or do you want our country to be good and support our allies and help Ukraine win and freaking collapse Russia? Russia is collapsing anyway. Do we have anything to talk about how Russia is
Yeah,
collapsing right now?
well, in many ways. But I just wanted to add on to that the way you can support Ukraine, which is very, very important, if you are a citizen or a resident in United States, please call your government officials. It's so important that you do, and it doesn't matter if they already support Ukraine. Call anyway if they don't support Ukraine, but especially if they don't. But call at least once a week, because every week what they do is they tally up their phone calls. So let's say you get 200 MAGA calling in, my tax dollars going to Ukraine, anti-Ukrainian calls, and then get Ukraine will get 30 pro-Ukrainian calls. End of the week, they tally it up, and that's what you get. That's why, and you don't need to convince them, you don't need to debate them. All you do is pick up the phone, call. Usually you'll leave a message, or if it's not going to be the actual government officials, but just leave a message, say who you are, you're a constituent, and say you support Ukraine. If you really want to get fancy, say that you support tomahawks to Ukraine. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's the most important thing we can do right now.
But I'm sorry,
Understand
one
that we
second.
are on.
Give
Yeah,
me a second. Speaking of support, thank you so much, S. Walsh Gummer, for supporting the channel with a fantastic super chat saying, "You're all great, Slava Ukraini." Uh, you're awesome. Thank you for supporting the channel and supporting Ukraine. And thank you to one of the channel's mods, SSW Custom Sewing, for sending out, gifting a gift membership. One of you will become a member of the channel. So thank you so much for all your support. And I believe, also thank you to Broadcast Cat, who is he's a moderator here, and he's collecting questions, which will answer them shortly. So if you have any questions, just tag him, and I'll get them, and we'll answer them afterwards. But
Thank you, Broadcast Cat. She's very. I thought it was a woman, but I don't know. I'm trying not to misgender anyone. But do you know them personally? Is that a male or female?
I don't know them personally, but they are fantastic mods.
A Broadcast Cat, can you? Is it okay if we ask? Because we are old school. We don't know anything.
I think he's male. I don't know.
And I apologize in advance. And you don't have to answer, by the way, if it's not what you want to do. But we certainly appreciate your support. Please comment, share, like, do what we have to do. Let's do this, guys.
We have some questions actually coming in. Thank you, Broadcast Cat, for putting them in our chat. But saying Minister for the Recovery of Stolen Toilets said if large drone manufacturers have an EW adjustment, it takes a long time. Little manufacturing doesn't. They change on a dime.
I think they're referring to the differences in how Ukraine approaches their drones and drone production and Russia. Because Russia throws their big military industrial complex and they make lots of drones, millions of drones all at once. And we ran into a situation when Russia made a lot of drones, but the technology has changed and all those drones were unusable in Ukraine. But Ukraine, it's very liberal production field. So Ukraine makes it in little mom and pop shops. It's different drones for different situations, big ones, small ones. And it's easy for Ukraine to adjust to the ever-changing battlefield.
It's great comment to that. And then another one from
Minister. Oh, I'm so sorry. I was wrong. Broadcast Cat is a male, an awesome male. What a cat. Thank you.
With a cat. We have another, I guess, a follow-up.
Good instinct, Slavy.
No, I mean, I saw the picture because in our chat, so it was an instinct.
Oh, you see a picture? I see. I don't look anywhere.
I don't. Okay. Yeah, and it's the same one in the chat, in the public chat as well.
This is gonna be my last. This is gonna be my last appearance.
What is Broadcast Cats? Let's see, a female or male? It should be the live stream.
Yeah, maybe we don't believe Broadcast Cat. We need some proof, right? No, I'm kidding. We believe.
Reply for Johnny right now. Minister of Recovery of Stolen Toilets is saying, "Thanks, Johnny." Exactly.
We got you.
Then again, also Minister of Recovery of Stolen Toilets saying, commented earlier, said it's a COVID of recess. I'm not sure what he was referring to at the time.
The comment says it's a COVID of recess?
Yeah, COVID of recess. Oh, because I did say Angela Merkel blamed COVID. Why Putin is acting so crazy and irrational is because of COVID.
Yeah, or a brain worm. Maybe it's the same as the RFK Jr. Maybe Putin has a brain worm.
Oh, for sure.
I'll pray for that. God, it's not going to help us, but
Yeah.
that
Also,
will
thanks so
explain a
much
lot of
to
things.
SSW Customs, a Rockstar Mod, for sending a super chat. West Coast is best coast. Support Ukraine. I agree.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you. Uh, oh, we still have a bunch of news to get through.
Let's get them. Let's get the news. We have good news. It's a lot of things are happening. The war is a very dynamic information space. It's a tug of war, like Slavy used to say. Russia is trying to win. We're trying to win. You know, it's a war. We have a lot on the line. Our democratic institutions are on the line. Our reputation as a country is on the line. Our history, everything United States has built in the last 250 years is on the line. So, and this is a constant tug of war. And we have to be mindful of everything that's happening. It's so important right now.
You know what? I was thinking this week to myself, I was like, Americans are so fucking cool. Like, I was watching like a show, but like, I was like, they're so fucking cool. And I fucking hate Russia for doing that to Americans, for brainwashing
Yeah,
them. I completely all blame it on Russia, all of it.
I do blame it on Russia, but it's up to us to fight. When somebody came to us and they're fighting us and they're winning, they get some ground, we have to mobilize, we have to unite, and we have to push back and kick their ass. So we have to stop whining, and we have to start fighting. This is war. Russia is approaching it as war. They want to destroy us, and we have to approach it the same way. We are at war currently.
Yeah. So I always said that this America First policies and that MAGA will do, and they are doing it, is it's going to ruin
Completely
United
backwards.
States. I mean,
It's completely backwards.
yeah, backwards. How can you think it will be best for United States to go from being, the
Number
policeman
one,
of the world, number
yeah,
one, with
to
power?
to to an isolated regional uh, thing that doesn't influence anything in the world and nobody cares about.
Yeah,
That
and
that's what they want to.
all our enemies have been praying for this to destroy America from
Russia has been
within. Like,
talking about this for years. Like you turn
yeah,
on any channel, all they say, United States should stay over there. They should not meddle in Europe. They should not meddle in Ukraine, anywhere. We're tired of United States doing the things that they're doing. They should stay on their territory and mind their own business. And that's exactly the message that Trump was speaking from day one. And he found enough people to support it. But it goes against any kind of United States interests. We lose our dominance. Our dollar is gonna not matter. Russia is trying to get around the dollar dominance in the world. If we are enclosed within our country, dollar doesn't matter. Russia has brought up this topic before at BRICS. They said we have to create an alternative currency against euro, against dollar. So if United States is America first, like Trump wants, dollar doesn't matter. It's going to stop being the quickly or freely converted currency of the world. So it only leaves Europe with the euro. Euro is going to be weakened because euro and dollar are in part strong because of our alliance, because of our tight alliance with Europe. If we're gonna say Europe, go f yourself, it's gonna weaken euro as well. It's gonna weaken dollar, and then Russia is already they already have the plans. They say, okay, we should create the new currency to to battle dollar, to battle Europe. They are ready to destroy us. They're finding all these ways to get rid of us, of the United States. And first thing we have to do is stay the F on our territory and stop meddling anywhere in the world. That's what Russia wants.
yep, they want to
USA
destroy
ID, Yeah,
Yeah, they want to destroy democracy. They want to destroy peace, and that's what they're doing in Europe right now. With we already talked about this with the right-wing governments destabilizing it completely, and they're manipulating population with the culture wars. Right? People are fighting because this endless culture war. I mean, look at us in United States, completely divided.
definitely.
Okay, I was like, because I just my screen went completely black. I'm like, hello, anyone there?
Oh,
But I'm good, right? I'm here.
I can hear and see you
Okay, cool.
right now.
Now I'm back up, but strange thing happening. Um, by the way, on Putin's birthday, Ukraine had a little gift. Ukraine strikes 2,000 kilometers inside Russia. Ukrainian drones targeted the Antipinski oil refinery in Tyumen, Siberia. One of the deepest
There we
known
go.
strikes. Yeah, this is the deepest known strikes inside Russia so far. Distance 2,000 kilometers from Ukraine's border. This happened on October 7th, which is Putin's birthday. Emergency services in Russia responded to explosions, and of course, as always, they said there were drone interceptions that were reported. No fire, says Russia, as always, but when
Mm,
witnesses say otherwise. The strike caps off a campaign that already crippled 38% of Russian oil refinery capacity. Guys, Ukraine is doing this really quick. I think only 2 3 weeks we were saying at 20%. Now
yeah.
we're at 38%. Incredible. But yeah, Ukraine didn't send flowers to Putin, but they sure sent the drones.
Well, the drones have very nice names, so at least that should help to celebrate. And you guys have to realize when you say two men, even Russians, they're like two men. That's like so far. You go there by train. It takes 3 days and 3 nights to go there by train. Russia is huge, right? So to strike two men, even if you are Russian, if you live in Russia all your life, you never go to Tumen. That's how far it is. And that's where Ukraine has to strike because that's where the oil refineries are. Pretty big oil refinery, and it's an incredible achievement. Like even if, let's say, United States and Europe, they will help us to get those strikes out, we couldn't do it because who's going to give us these capabilities to strike 2,000 kilometers from Ukrainian border? That's like intercontinental capabilities. Like, you have to appreciate what Ukraine is doing right now. It's absolutely incredible.
Yep. Ukraine does have people on the ground in Russia to help with these
I,
strikes, to guide them
I
and them.
apologize. I have to get offline for like a 1 minute. Just give me a
All
sec,
right.
okay?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, as I was saying, there's like I don't know if they're Russians or Ukrainians, but on the ground in Russia, helping with these strikes because they need kind of plans to navigate certain missiles and systems on the ground in Russia. But that being said, Russia lost 281,000 troops in 2025. So now the death toll tops 1 million. Ukraine's military intelligence project said, I Want to Live, that's what it's called, run by her or GUR, released updated Russian loss figures for the first 8 months of 2025, reported Russian Kia just in 2025 alone was 281,000 troops. Cumulative total since February 2022, over 1 million Russians dead. and this is dead. That's not kind of out of service. This does not include wounded, amputees, or psychologically broken soldiers. This is wild. The Kremlin still pretends they've only lost a few thousand, as always, gaslighting their own people as they burn through entire generations. These updated figures dropped just as Russia escalates fall conscription plans and tries to lure recruits with signing bonuses in rubles and coffins. You can only lie to grieving mothers for so long. I'm just saying. Russia is feeding human lives into a war it can't win. And Ukraine's holding the line. Ugh. Russia, Russia, Russia. Human lives are nothing to Russia. They're just, people are just a number. We're in a civilized world. Obviously, we and Ukraine value life above everything else. Johnny, I was just saying that Russia lost 281,000 troops in 2025, and that's dead, not even wounded or amputees. That's completely gone. By the way, the only business that's booming in Russia right now is the funeral business. It's actually like some kind of mafia runs it. It's very corrupt, but yeah, that's the only money maker in Russia is to be in the funeral business. I mean, that's so bleak. Wow.
Yeah.
Future does not look bright for Russia. All right. We have a comment.
Russians, they're kind of like the victims of their own propaganda in a way, because when they started attacking Ukraine, they started killing Ukrainians. Immediately, they started saying that they can afford to lose more soldiers than Ukraine, and they started saying these ridiculous numbers of how many soldiers Russia can lose without Russia really feeling it. So, according to official statistics, there's 145 million people living in Russia, and about 25 million are like the men of, let's say, fighting age, right? So, if you take like half of them, like 70 million are male, but some are children, some are old people. So when you take like in the middle, where like this good, ripe fighting age, it's like they said they can easily mobilize 25 million. And then they were spewing these numbers like Russia can lose like 5 million people easily, like, and they're not even going to feel it. They were harkening back to World War II, when Soviet Union, not Russia, lost 27 million. Of course, it was devastating, but Soviet Union did end up one of the victors in that war. But they're saying like this is the kind of numbers we can lose and not feel it. However, when the fighting started, this is not 1945. This is not 1940s, 1930s. This is a new world. It's all these dead soldiers from Russia. It's devastating for Russian regions. Putin is trying to scramble. He's inviting people from Tajikistan, from Kazakhstan, from these Asian countries to replace Russians because they have huge shortages in a working force right now. There's about 400,000 unfulfilled jobs that Russia is trying to fulfill because they have all these military industrial complex jobs right now, that they need to make ammo, they need to make rockets, tanks, whatever they need for the war. They're very lagging behind because Ukraine is destroying more than Russia is being able to replace. And that's where North Korea came in. North Korea is a huge, actually, military power. It's the biggest army in the world right now. They have 3 million soldiers in their army, which is huge. No army in the world has that many soldiers. I guess it has to do with their economy and everything that goes around, like the military complex over there. So North Korea has been helping Russia with ammo, with missiles, with all these things. Oh yeah, that's North Korea for you. So Russia cannot even provide for themselves to continue this war if it wasn't for North Korea, if it wasn't for China, if it wasn't for some of the even European countries, because a lot of the components in the drones that Russia is sending at Ukraine, they are made with American components, German components, Netherlands, you name it. It takes the whole world to bomb Ukraine these days. And unfortunately, Russia is finding all these ways to go around sanctions, and to still acquire these components so they can continue the war. But it's devastating because right now Russia cannot continue this. They said that they will continue it forever, and it seemed that way. They showed, listen, we don't care, we will continue. But the more we get into this, the more it shows that a lot of different areas of Russia are starting to crumble. Russia is beginning to collapse.
It's going to be a long collapse, but I have to agree. Even though Russians adapt to anything, really, they're like cockroaches. Cockroaches can live in like nuclear environments.
Well, they're actually saying that. The Russians themselves, they're saying that they are like, they will survive anything. Like the Western people will die from a nuclear holocaust, but Russians will survive. They're actually saying what Slavy is, because it looks like Slavy is trying to badmouth Russians, but it all comes from Russians' mouths. They saying that about themselves.
Oh no, I was bad mouthing them too, but
Yeah, you're killing two birds with one stone, right?
yeah.
Yeah. What were we talking about last week? It was besides just the economical component of this war, where Russia is trying to pull all their economy together and survive this. There is a thing of just Russia. Russia is not a uniform country. It's held together by imperialistic ideas of world dominance, of supremacy, of everybody else being a smaller country, a smaller nation, and Russia being great. But when you look inside Russia, nothing is really. Russia is not like one people. There is no ethnicity, Russian ethnicity, or anything like that. People who call
Why
themselves
Russia is a
Russians,
fake country. If anything, they call everyone else fake. Ukraine is a fake country,
right?
artificially made. If anything, it's Russians. There is no what is a Russian? It's a bunch of
There's no.
stolen ethnicities and culture and like languages. There's no such thing as what Russians want to portray them as. Basically, what Russians want to portray them as is what Ukrainians actually are.
Yeah, they always show white people, Ukrainian-looking people, and they say that we're Christian nation. And this is just to appeal to the Western world, to United States. But if you look inside Russia, Russia is like a Frankenstein of like 80 different nation states within
I like
Russia.
that analogy. That's a great one. I'm going to use that, and great for
Please
Halloween
do.
time as well.
Um, yeah, so they're loosely woven together with this message of greatness, the message of weak West, that the West is weak, United States is stupid and weak and evil, that we are strong, we will dominate as long as we're holding together. But keep in mind, when Russia is not achieving their successes on the battlefield, the turmoil within Russia begins to rise. And all of these nations within Russia, because when you say a Russian, it could be a Chechen person, it could be a Buryat person, it could be a Tatar person, it could be a Bashkir person, any kind of these ethnicities. There's like hundreds of them, right? And when you're not delivering on this promise of greatness, of great Russian empire, Russia nation, and the weak West, the weak United States. Well, right now we are delivering on the promise of weak United States. But if we show Russia that the West is strong, the United States is strong, they cannot achieve weak victory. Russia begins to crumble because there's nothing really holding Russia together. I remember listening to a Russian person from Dagestan. Dagestan, that's one of the nation states within Russia. They have their own constitution. They're a state of Russian Federation. Federation is a union. The name of Russia, they have two names. One is Russia. That's what we all say Russia is. And the second name of Russia is called Russian Federation, which is a union of all these states. And this person from Dagestan, so when you're speaking to a Russian, you're never speaking to a Russian ethnicity. You're speaking to some kind of ethnicity within Russia. Um, so in this case, this Russian is a Dagestani. And he said right before Putin attacked Crimea, they had a huge uprising in Dagestan because Dagestan wants its independence. Chechnya wants its independence. Tatarstan wants its independence. Um, excuse me, guys. So as soon as Putin attacked Crimea, as soon as they got that peninsula, there was a huge uplifting of these empire kind of feelings in Russia, and all of the nationalistic movements kind of subsided. The movements within Russia that are fighting for independence of these states. However, as soon as Russia begins to lose, all of these nationalistic movements, they get to be on the rise again. So that's a clear path of defeating Russia. Russia is big, but nothing is holding all these nation states within Russia except for this false narrative of Russian dominance, of democratic institution failing, and of Putin being the strong leader of the world.
Yeah. At least now we have Trump calling Russia a paper tiger. I honestly think Trump just learned the definition of what a paper tiger just means. But he's been calling Russia a paper tiger, and he's not wrong. Um, After the first time Trump called Russia a paper tiger, they spent like a week saying that defending, no, we're a bear. Um,
Paper
but
bear.
yeah, that's what I said, and I was like, bears don't have to convince that they're bears. And Russia was
That's
trying to
very
convince
true.
the world that we're not a paper tiger, we're a bear. Grr. Yeah, okay.
A big part of Russian propaganda is fear. Russia does not exist without a huge portion of the world population being afraid of Russia. They are selling this fear, and they don't exist without this fear. If we'll start laughing at Russia everywhere we go, Russia will collapse tomorrow. I apologize, I have to.
Oh, um, let me do a segment while Johnny had to go for a little bit. What I really wanted the segment I wanted to do, and I know Minister for Recovery of Stolen Toilets had mentioned the elephant in the room. The West is heavily invested in Russia and Russia's money, uh, which makes the West rich? I think that was a question. Well, I wanted to talk about EU hypocrisy right now. And let me just share this. All right, here we are. So yeah, the EU hypocrisy, and some states raised Russian energy imports to 12 billion despite backing Ukraine, even if they are pro-Ukrainian and support Ukraine. Yeah, it's jarring. It's a jarring contradiction that states that publicly support Ukraine are actually increasing imports of Russian energy, spending nearly 12 billion in 2025. Several EU nations boosted Russian energy imports in 2025, such as for gas and oil, while voicing support for Kiev. Total additional spending is close to 12 billion. This shows how dependence, profit, and politics still pull these nations towards Moscow's wallet. The moral high ground is thin here when your energy contracts betray your stated values. Use this as a contrast to Ukraine's consistency versus European hypocrisy. And I just wanted to show you this chart and how much it went up in value. Obviously, we have Hungary here, run by Viktor Orban, but next up, Slovakia as well, from Fico. France, I mean, in 2025, this orange line went way up. Then
Yeah.
Belgium, Spain, but look, I think it's the biggest jump was from France, which made a stand that they support Ukraine. In fact, Macron was very supportive of Ukraine. I have like a love-hate thing with him because sometimes he's so great and getting seems like he will be like a leader that could stand next to Zelensky of the free world and getting the coalition of the willing. And now recently he's been disappointing me quite a bit because he also doesn't support Russian frozen assets going to Ukraine. And here
Was
we
there any
talked about
breakthrough on
fear,
that?
and there we talked about fear. I don't know. I don't know what they did to Macron recently, but he's been really going, supporting Ukraine, but doing the opposite, basically.
Well, Russia were complicit in huge protests of the Yellow Jackets during Macron's first term. When he was just in power, he was very outspoken against Russia. He said that the Russia is evil empire. He said all the right things. And he kept saying that. And Russians basically tried to organize a coup. And they kind of let him know, listen, you're going to lose your country. We're going to burn Paris to the ground. And they partially succeeded. And he switched on a dime very quickly. He learned that you have to tread carefully with Russia. And ever since then, he's been careful, even though still occasionally he does say the right thing. With Russia, he says all the right messages he wants to, but it's really hard, guys, because Russia is everywhere. They're fighting on all kinds of levels with you, economically, informationally, every which way they can.
Yeah. John, you have a question here from They Exist on North Korea. Soldiers in North Korea, this is from They Exist. Soldiers in North Korea are probably all doing production work besides mill training. Any info about this, but stands to reason? Yeah, they're doing
Possibly.
yeah, it's all in-house. They don't have any any other countries that they do trade with.
Yeah, I mean, North Korea is involved in the conflict in Ukraine. They are sending their soldiers, but not in the numbers that they have. So these are paid. Basically, North Korean soldiers are paid government employees. You have 3 million of them, and of course, I wouldn't be surprised if North Korea would send them to do some kind of projects that they're doing, like build roads or infrastructure or uh, anything else like that. For example, this goes back to uh, we talked about Soviet Union. That's how our Soviet Union army was. Whenever they were not openly attacking some small nation, soldiers would be sent to massive public projects alongside of criminals from prisons, alongside of just volunteers uh, recruited through propaganda. That's how these dictators countries operate. And of course, they're gonna plug any kind of hole with their Russian soldiers. I mean, their soldiers, in this case, North Korean soldiers. But North Korea is such a closed off country. Most of these things were kind of guessing, but these are good educated guesses. By the way, North Korea is not so closed anymore from Russia because since Russians cannot travel to Europe, they actually started selling tours, traveling tours to visit the beautiful North Korea. And lots of Russians already went, which
Yeah,
is
you have like oligarchs and like business people. They go to vacation now to North Korea. Wonderful, wonderful resorts it must be in North
the
Korea.
great resort, the greatest, the biggest, the greatest under the sun.
They
They
have some
big
sort of a travel deal between Russia and North Korea. I don't know about you, Johnny, but it just never tickled me to go to North Korea.
well, they should open Trump Hotel in there, or Trump Motel, like really big one with golden letters, bigly, the best, the greatest motel,
I
open
don't think
up.
that you'd be able to do that because in North Korea, I don't think you can be anything different,
Well, we
right?
should
Like
send
any
our best
luxury or,
politicians. We have this Luna
yeah.
bitch. That's sorry, I meant to say a different word. It just, I'm dyslexic or something. Tourette's. So this Luna bitch, she can go to North Korea, opening all these great tourist routes. What we have: Florida, we have Cancun, we had Hawaii. F that, we should start traveling. We should open up the world. We're supporting Ukraine. That's bullshit. We should start traveling to North Korea. We should all do that. Sorry, I'm just losing my nerve when
Yeah.
I'm losing my temper over here. It's frustrating. I mean, but this is war. We're at war.
Yeah. And when we say we, it's obviously United States, the West. Russia is attacking, not kinetically, but in a hybrid war. That's what we're in. Hybrid war, which means all sorts of uh, attacks. Uh, yeah, Russia's very good at doing this. It's scary. And I always say this: whoever wins the information battle wins the war. Unfortunately,
Russians openly say that 25% of the war is happening on the battleground. Uh, so everything that's happening in Ukraine right now, all the missiles and drones that are flying, that's 25% of the war. 75% of the war is happening in information space, in buying politicians, in buying bloggers, in inviting people like Tucker Carlson, anybody who is sympathizing. That's where the actual war is happening. That's according to Russians.
yeah,
That's how they fight. It's their war. They're not. They are fighting on the ground, but the things that are happening on the ground, um, it's just 25% of what's happening. It's important to win the war on the ground, because you can win the war on the ground and win the war. However, you can lose the war on the ground, but win the information war, and you can also win the war. So Russia is doing it both, and you kind of have to do both right now. Like, if you're not fighting in Russia with a rusty AK, if you're not going physically to Ukraine to help on the front line, don't worry, because your biggest and best battle is, like Slavi said, call your politician today, call your, talk to your person, share a good message, a good stream, like, subscribe. That's actually what's happening in the information war space right now. That's why me and Slavi, we get out and we talk about these things, because that's actually what the war is. And
Yeah.
you guys are all soldiers in it right now.
The front line is also on the screens, in the society, and the minds of people. So this piece gives ammunition for your narratives on why we fight this war everywhere. So
That was my dad in a in a picture for a second. Tato.
yeah, we have some. Do you have questions? Yes. Uh, from Broadcast Cats, or sorry, War Russia. Oh man. Okay, sorry. Saying Moscovians believe themselves to be better than conquered federations. See how they would treat a Chechen, etc. I mean, they think they're obviously the best out of everyone.
I grew up in Soviet Union, just briefly. I was a child, and we grew up talking jokes about Chukchas. That's like the Russian way. They conquer you, they do a genocide, they, rape your women, um, they reprogram your children, they erase your language, erase your culture, history, everything, and then they never stop, like, making fun of you for them conquering you. So all these jokes, and I never learned like, just recently I learned the history of Chukchas. They actually won 3 wars with Russia. Russia could not conquer them militarily. Russia always loses any kind of war that they start. Keep that in mind. So they lost the wars, and then they basically, when they were fighting with Chukchas, there was one instance where they killed all the men, all the children, and they kept 300 women for themselves. And these 300 Chukcha women, they did an act of, basically, they suicided themselves in a single act. All 300 of them, like, in an instant, and they killed themselves. And the Russians were just horrified, because they could see that they cannot conquer this proud nation, because Chukchas are proud, peaceful until they were attacked by. Um, Basically, if you want to know who Chukchas are, they're kind of like, we have indigenous peoples in Canada and in Alaska. That's what kind of like who Chukchas are. So over here, indigenous people, they have protection, they have medical, care, stuff like that. In Russia, they're ridiculed forever. Russians could not forgive Chukchas that they could not properly conquer them. They could not just win any military, um, you know, advances on Chukcha. And when they eventually conquered them, they conquered them by winning information space. They bought politicians, they bought the land. They built some schools. They started saying that, like what Russia is doing right now around the world. And eventually they were able to subdue and annex Chukotka, which is right now a part of Russian Federation, Russian Union. But Chukotka, again, if you're meeting a Russian and he's like Eskimo-looking person, that's still a Russian, but he might be from Chukotka. And right now they're all programmed to believe the great Russia, and the evil West, the evil United States.
Yeah. Wanted to.
There was a story also when they were conquering Chukotka. There was this Russian commander, and what he was doing is he would line up Chukcha men. He would line them up, and he received a gift, a beautiful United States rifle. And I don't know the model of the rifle or whatever. And he said, I need to test my rifle. And he was able, so he put 12 Chukcha people in a row, and he shot through 9 of them, and he was very proud. He said, look how great of an American rifle this is. So just keep in mind, when you're supporting Russia, when you're giving them gifts, uh, when you're supporting their message, you're complicit in some of these atrocities. You don't want anything to do with Russia, because this is where your gifts are going to end up. They're going to line up 12 Chukchas and going to shoot through 9 of them to test how good is your gift, how good is your rifle. And later, by the way, sorry, I'm rambling, but this is kind of another infuriating topic. And later, Russians were writing poetry about this guy who was, there's no like justice in Russia. This guy is an atrocious, bloodthirsty monster. And they were writing poetry for him for conquering Chukchas. Like he's this great guy, and he's this great Christian guy, and he conquered these Chukchas for the greatness. He saved or liberated Chukchas, not even conquered, for the greatness of Russia. True story.
Yep. I was just trying to find a map of Russia, but it's not Russia. It's a map of all the different that used to be countries and ethnic groups that are within Russia that Russia colonized.
Yeah.
There's a lot, obviously, but I can't find it really quick. Next time I'll be more prepared.
No worries.
Okay. I wanted to talk about what Zelensky promised. Zelensky promises a response to Russia's attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructures, and he announced a mega deal for U.S. air defense. So the following infrastructure strikes, Zelensky pushed back, announcing a new arms push and deal with the U.S. for advanced air defense systems. He said, we must respond and we must protect ourselves. Zelensky flagged Russia's use of precision stocks, timing in rain fog to weaken the air defense. So Russia has new tactics that it's using. He revealed Ukraine's delegation is negotiating a mega deal for U.S. air defense systems, such as Patriots, HIMARS, and modifications to use ATACMS, possibly Pearl, and bilateral weapons program. He asked the UK to join the Pearl initiative, linking frozen Russian assets funds to the weapons flow, basically. I mean, Zelensky is doubling down on defense procurement, emphasizing US systems, and setting up long-range strike capabilities. The arms game is escalating again. And I think Ukraine has the cards this time. Sure sounds like it.
It's kind of funny that remember shortly after Zelensky visited White House, and there was this despicable performance where they said, "You have no cards." Within like a month, there was this brilliant Ukrainian operation when they struck with drones. They destroyed 34% of Russian strategic aviation. That's the
That was the
thing that
spider
Russia,
web, right?
Operation Spiderweb.
Yeah, we talked about on this on here like so much,
Can
but it
you
was
can you
brilliant.
imagine sitting there in the White House, thinking about you have this huge operation that you have to keep secret from United States because they're leaking everything to Russia. They cannot keep their house safe. We cannot keep tight information space over here. Russia gets wind of everything we're doing, or if Ukraine is saying anything to United States. So you have to sit there and listen how you have no cards and you're in the middle of rewriting military history with this amazing operation, that is going to shock the world just less than a month from now. That's
Think
kind of
I mean, it was
embarrassing.
shocking to people who follow the war and understand what's going on. Um, that was great, but many people we talked about this. They think because Russia is so big, it's like this big scary. It's like how can Ukraine can possibly win? And thank God Trump is turning on that, turning around and saying Ukraine can win, but it's not getting through to everyone, let's put it this way. People they just don't know what's going on, and they still think uh, Russia is a threat. Also, Russia threatens nuclear strikes pretty much every other week on someone different, and
Yeah,
that's what people
unfortunately,
see
that
in
works.
propaganda. They see more of Russia's threats, of how big and scary Russia is, rather than what is actually happening and what Russia is actually.
Russia sells fear. Just
Yeah.
remember that. That's the biggest product that Russia has. When they say Russia doesn't produce anything, they produce one thing. They don't produce good cars. They don't have phones, electronics, clothing, nothing. But remember Russian, uh, uh, like their congressman, she said, "Oh, I just learned we don't make nails. They import nails." Like the nails where you have to nail something
Oh,
like
I was thinking like nails for women, like glue
no,
on
no,
nails.
like
I'm
like
like,
the
yeah,
same word, but the piece of metal that
see where
you
our minds are at.
hammer with a hammer. She's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I just realized we're not making any nails within Russia. We import any nail in Russia is imported, like from China and whatnot. They're not making anything. But one thing they surely produce is fear, and they count on it strategically. Everything that's why I hate Hollywood portrayal of Russia, because Russia is always happy to be portrayed as something scary, as something unpredictable, as something chaotic. When Russians are portrayed as mobsters or as like scary, uneducated, unpredictable, chaotic gangsters or something like that. Russia is happy with all that. It's not necessarily true. I mean, most of Russian people, first of all, they don't look like that. Uh, they look, most of the like nationalities within Russia, they're Turkic, some Asian, some um, Hungarian, Finnish, which are white looking, some Ukrainian even. Um, so but Hollywood is like misportraying everything that Russia is, but it's all paid by Russia.
I don't know. I have to push back on that because Russia is a mafia state,
Yeah,
and Hollywood portrays it, yeah, Russians as mafia because that's what films are mostly, about. There's a lot of mafia activity, but Hollywood has done a pretty good job at kind of um, showing Russia always. They're always there's not one movie you can find where Russia looks good or Russians look good in it.
Russia are okay with it, is all I'm
There,
saying. And I think
I
they're
don't.
paying for that.
Not some, yes. The ones that need money to get their films greenlit, yeah, Russia, they have so many what was it? Yeah, like Gazprom um agencies or whatever doing that and paying for movies for sure. But I'm telling you, most of Hollywood hates Russia. Most of Hollywood has
It's
Ukrainian roots, basically. That's one. And the big directors, they can't stand Russia. Now, big directors, they don't need to take money from Russians, but that's what others do. But I don't know. I have to push back on that. It's
I know you like the Russian portrayal because sometimes it's like
no, I
gratifying. You
don't like
see,
Russian portrayal. I actually get upset every time there's even a Russian portrayal. But I'm
yeah,
not.
that's me the same way. I'm like, it's like Hollywood has a Tourette's syndrome. Every time when they have to portray a villain, oh, Russian, I turn off any movie. Like just recently, some new movie came out. Like they have no imagination in Hollywood. There are 250 different countries. Can you find anyone besides a Russian? And they don't even find Russians. They find some Hollywood actor who is trying to do a Russian accent. Oh, I already practiced Russian accent. I will be a Russian prostitute or something. I don't care. Can you stop with that? Like, why are you doing it?
I don't
Like,
know.
I'm not gonna watch any movie that like 10 minutes into it, oh, we have Russian mafia that we have to do something.
I
Like,
have to. I keep watching the movie, but I see where the storyline is and how they. Because sometimes you in the storyline you can portray Russians, even as heroes. They can do that, and they do that. The ones that movies that Russia pays for, but there's where they romanticize Russian culture and everything like that. But then there's other movies. The storylines are horrendous to Russians. They make them look really bad, and that's what I'm okay with. The ones that kind of romanticize Russians and show them in any sort of positive light, and yes, that does exist, I'm not okay with that. The bad stuff, love it. But
the
John, you
most I can, yeah.
have a question afterwards, but go ahead.
Broadcast cat, please forgive me and come back. Oh, he's back. Okay, it's good to have you back.
No, you have a question from they exist, saying, so I'm curious, Johnny is well read. What subjects were your favorite and favorite authors? Must have some special psychology in education, or else a natural. Rambling by Johnny is very relevant. So, floor is over to you.
sorry for rambling. That does get me in trouble sometimes.
It's
I'm a
relevant
chemist.
rambling.
Yeah, sometimes I get good rambling in. I'm a chemist by trade. I received a lot of science education in a university in Ukraine, and then I continued my education here in the United States. Um, my favorite subject is actually flat Earth. I love flat Earth. It's such an incredible idea that there are some people who still believe in flat Earth. That's like my,
No, that's what the shills before the full-scale invasion. That's what the shills used to do, was debunk flat Earth theories.
yeah. And then I learned that Russia is pushing heavily the flat Earth theories into Western countries, just to divide the countries, to make them weaker, to mobilize the stupid population, to break down Western societies. Russia is meddling into everything. They did the same with anti-vaxxer campaigns in the West. And what happens is, unfortunately, Russians are not too bright as well. They do fall the victims of their own narratives. So when Russians come up with like anti-vaxxer narratives, Russians get hit hard with anti-vaxxer narratives as well. They think because Russia is a dictatorship, they can just state make you take vaccine. And to a point, it works because they just make Russians take vaccine. They don't care if you believe in vaccines or if you don't believe in vaccines. If you're hit by Russian propaganda, they don't care. Um, as far as psychology, I love psychology. I was actually a big kind of proponent of psychology being taught in school. I think every person should just, in our daily lives, you have to study psychology by yourself. And unfortunately, this field is also kind of riddled with charlatans of different sorts, of different things like, oh, personality by color, you're blue personality, you're green with a touch of orange. Let's do your portrait makeup. But there's actually a science of psychology. I'm a big science guy. I have science t-shirts and stuff like that, which helps me a lot, especially in this information age. There's lots of misinformation, of charlatans, of all kinds of bad information out there. And we always have to be vigilant, always work on our um, critical skills, critical thinking skills. And thank you for the question and the compliment. And that's what I think Slavi has a lot of that too. That's what draws me to be in her presence for these streams.
I do love
Critical thinking.
psychology as well, and I can understand science pretty well. So, um, I wanted to maybe we should do a segment on conspiracy theories and Russia, because most of them do come from Russia. And
Russia is behind every
yeah,
major conspiracy theory because that's gonna make our society weaker. The more conspiracy theorists we have, and Russia understands that very well. So they're behind almost all of them.
it's sad to say, but like, sorry, cousin. My cousin falls for so many of these conspiracy theories. She's obviously Ukrainian, but I'm like, I got into some pretty big fights with her because the shit she was, and I was like trying to be like, this is where it's coming from, Russia. Russians are killing you. You're gonna anyway. Don't get me started. But it's people. Why do they go to conspiracy theories? Because they don't want to believe in the truth. And Russia has always been lied to by their government. Um, and so they've grown up with these conspiracy theories. There've always been some insane stuff. The tinfoil hats people, right,
Yeah.
in Russia. So it's kind of part of Russian culture, and they're okay with it. And the crazier, the better, if anything, about conspiracy theories.
I kind of have a not love hate but love relationship with AI. I think it's very useful. Still, Russia was not able to completely corrupt artificial intelligence, even though they're trying. So what you do is you just do a quick. I just did while Slavia was speaking. I did a quick search. Was Russia behind the anti-vax conspiracy spreading? You just ask. In this case, it's Gemini. That's a Google. But I have other ones. I have ChatGPT. I have Companion or something like that. There's others. I actually never used Grok, but I hear good things. So it says here, studies have shown that Russian-aligned actors, including internet trolls and state-sponsored media, by the way, internet trolls are also state-sponsored by Russia, have played a role in amplifying the anti-vaccination discourse and spreading related conspiracy theories, particularly on social media. And right now, all these Russian spread theories are spoken by RFK Jr. and Trump himself. Key findings indicate that the goal of this activity in generally not just to promote anti-vaccine views, but it has a broader strategy. That's AI. Sow discord and polarization by exacerbating divisions and controversial issues within Western societies. That's basically what I just said. Like I love AI. AI is so smart. Russian trolls have been found to promote both pro and anti-vaccine messages, consistent with a strategy of promoting general chaos and distrust in Western institutions. Undermining trust of Western institutions, including public health systems, governments, and scientific consensus. Cast doubt on specific Western developed vaccines. It's important to note that the anti-vaccination movement has various origins and is fueled by numerous factors, largely from Russia. Evidence suggests that Russian-aligned campaigns have actively contributed to the spread and amplification of this type of misinformation. So yeah, I mean, that's what Russia is doing. They're not going to stop until they destroy our trust in our governments, in our institutions, in our healthcare systems, in our science itself. Attack on science lately. There's huge anti-science rhetoric being spread around. Where do you think it's coming from?
Yeah. That global warming is fake, right? All that.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Before we do have some excellent questions coming up, but before we do that, I want to shout out to M Dow saying me is looking good tonight. Thank you so much. You know they exist, coming in with a super chat, saying okay to buy my own popularity here. Love you too. You know they exist. You are popular here. You don't need to buy it, but you can sure support the channel, which you are. Thank you so much. SSW Custom Sewing, a moderator here, sent out one Slavy gift membership. So one lucky member will be part of the channel and will get exclusive content. And then we have a couple of more shout outs. Thank you so much to Minister for the recovering toilets, saying us in a super chat. Thank you, Slavy and Johnny. Thank you to all who supports Ukraine. Your help is felt and reciprocated on the front. Glory to the fallen. Absolutely. Thank you so much. And excellent questions, Minister of Recovering Toilets. Then we have another super chat coming in from Fred Bear. Keep bringing the heat. We will sure try. Thank you so much for your support and supporting Ukraine. M. Dow also says Slavy Johnny also looks good tonight.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for all the support. It means a lot. We almost didn't have a show today.
Yeah.
It took a lot to make it happen. Thank Slavi, because she knows how to do this.
Yeah, we need to like put the show to. We weren't prepared to do this show. Otherwise, we would be more prepared because we were prepared.
Yeah, we were preparing for a different show. We were not preparing for this show.
Yeah.
So we had to switch a few things.
Yeah, and that's why we're scrambling for like pictures because we can show stuff to you guys on here, and yeah, we had to like scramble. It was everything last minute, but we're here. We're doing it. And we will have an episode of this stream coming out on hopefully by Monday. You guys will be able to watch the edited version, which is faster and not as spread out. But
we have an couple of things that I wanted to touch. If
can we do this
big hurry?
One more question, which I want you to answer. And this one is from, it's on topic too. That's why it's excellent. From M. Dow, and asking, what is it with Russia wanting to go back to USSR? I know Johnny wants to answer this one. I wouldn't say wants to go back to communism, but why Putin thought that Russia, when the Soviet Union fell, was the biggest disaster of ever, was because it was an empire. So really, he thinks of Soviet Union that it was an empire because it had a lot of um, nations under, essentially under Russian control during those times. But I would say it's not specifically going back to communism, but it would look a lot similar. I mean, look at Russia now. I would say it's Russia has an imperial sickness, which is to conquer land, people by force. So, Johnny, you want to answer that question as well?
There are two things to touch on here. Um, First of all, it starts with Putin himself. Putin, Russian president. He is a KGB officer. He's a colonel in KGB ranks. He was studying in KGB school. A bulk of KGB school studies is teaching you to neglect human life and kind of see humans and people um, as resource to achieve greatness of the country, of the system that you're serving. And also keep in mind that if you are a KGB, you're an elite. You're an elite of that system, of Soviet Union system. So look what Putin had to go through. He was a young man studying that he's an elite, that people are small and a resource, that it's okay and good to neglect human life, to neglect killings, murders, genocides, as long as it's serving higher purpose. He was, um, and when he was going up the ranks, the more and more power he was getting. He got up to colonel. That's a huge power within the KGB system and the KGB ranks. He was complicit in killing of people. He was so powerful that he was getting away with having, um, I don't know how else to say it, but he's a PDF file. Putin is a PDF file, and he had um, he was getting away with having children delivered to him and all of that happening. So and Soviet Union broke down. So overnight, from this powerful person, elite of the country, where you can like being a parasite of the whole nation of USSR, you turn into nobody. He became a nobody overnight, and he had to scramble. They were using the 90s in Russia, the corruption. They were selling helicopters to um, to private buyers in Europe. They were basically selling off USSR. Putin is a recipient of the chaos that ensued in Soviet Union. They were basically just selling aluminum under the market value, basically just robbing the country until he amassed enough money. He bought
By the
his way.
by the way, aviation in Soviet Union, almost all of it was by Ukrainian um, engineers, and it was all
Exactly.
anything that Russia did that seems great. It was done by Ukrainians. Now, this is a hill I'm willing to die on always.
No, that's we can talk the full stream just about that.
Yeah.
So eventually, Putin has sold enough of assets from Russia where he was amassing huge money profits. He bought his way into politics, into power. He was a prime minister, and Yeltsin made him his successor. He wasn't even elected. He was just he conquered the power in Russia and completely destroyed any kind of hope for democratic future just because he is a KGB colonel. He's not a democratic person. So he was playing this democratic facade the first couple of years in power. He was saying, oh, I'm all about democracy, I'm all about free speech. He was saying all the right things while destroying newspapers, killing journalists in Russia. Russia was number two in killed journalists at that point. Number one was Iraq. You guys have to just put that in perspective. So we had the Gulf War, we had all those things, and Russia was tracking on number two position for killed journalists. That was Putin just solidifying his power in the first months. Now, let's talk about Soviet Union. Soviet Union was 15 different republics. One of them was Russian Federation, which is a union of different republics as well, different states as well, but that's the biggest one. But there was also 14 other smaller ones. There's Moldova. They're all independent right now. Where Russia, the more they talk about USSR, the more they putting that idea out there that they want to lay claim to at least those 14 states. You know, there's Kazakhstan, there's Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, all the Baltic states, Moldova, Belarus, which Russia is kind of already conquered. There are Caucasus nations, which are Armenia, Georgia, Azerbaijan. Russia wants all of those back. You know, that's what I mean. That's an easy question to answer just from that perspective. But also, the Soviet Union was a reiteration of Russian Empire. That's when Russia lost the World War One, and they broke up. And they scrambled and they got together this new version of Russian Empire, which is a Soviet Union. And as soon as, let's say, in a wonder world of Russian propaganda, let's say Soviet Union comes back, right? Russia is able to unify all 15 states. Next thing they're going to talk is going to be Russian Empire. They also control Finland. They control Poland. You know, when the Soviet Union was active, every few years they would attack another country. They attacked Hungary in 1956. They attacked Czechoslovakia in 1968. They attacked what's it called? Afghanistan in 1979. And in between those big attacks, they had small attacks. They had proxy wars all around the world. Just Nicaragua, that's pretty close to United States, where they installed their puppet government. They were trying to, you know, same messages that they're doing, the evil United States, evil West, all over Africa, Asia, Cambodia, like Vietnam, Korean War, all done by Russia, by Soviet Union, you know. So they're reminiscing about all those times, and they want that back. To me, it's kind of funny because life in Soviet Union was really miserable for the people who lived in it, and it's okay for Putin to miss it because he was the elite, he was the ruler, he was training to rule this country, which he ended up ruling Russia. But he was the elite of Soviet Union, so it's okay for him to miss Soviet Union. But why would regular people miss Soviet Union? That's, to me, that's always a mystery. And that's the power of Russian propaganda. If you hear it enough times through Russian channels, Russian movies, they make movies like every week about great life in Soviet Union. They have this. Have you seen this movie, Slavy? Like it's ridiculous. They all wear like uniforms, like Soviet era uniforms. Life is great. Everybody's smiling. All the tables are full of food. All the Russians are well fed, and all the women are like with puffy lips, like the Moscow
It's not
style.
just Russians. Keep in mind, there's Ukrainians as well. But there was actually no food. You had to get tickets, like tokens, to get food. I know my
Yeah,
parents only survived because when I was born, you get like kids tickets, but I couldn't eat. I
food
didn't have
cards. You
teeth.
had
Yeah,
food
food
cards.
card, food stamps, and that's how they survived because they could get I don't know, they gave like salami because of a baby or something. Of course, a baby can't eat salami, or and yeah, that's how people were survived. But when we speak of Soviet Union, I think it's important to say there wasn't just Russians that were in Soviet Union. Ukrainians suffered, uh, Poland suffered, so many other nations who were part of the Soviet Union suffered greatly because of this of communism.
Well, Poland was attacked by Soviet Union in World
Yeah.
War II when they devoured and split Poland down the middle between Soviet Union and Nazi Germany. But they were not officially part of Soviet Union, but they were part of Russian Empire, parts of Poland, and Russia still is bitter about that. They
Yeah,
want all of that back.
that's one way to say it, bitter. But yeah,
Hmm.
they do want it back. They want the empire back, and it's what Russia is now is actually pretty close to what Soviet Union uh, was, except Russia doesn't give out like places to live at. But you know, they control everything, everything.
State media, state movies, state cartoons,
Yep.
everything is sponsored and vetted by
Yes.
Russian information department. Everything is approved. There are all subliminal messages of greatness of Russia. That's
Yeah.
why I suggest never watch Russian movies, never watch Russian cartoons, never watch Russian programming. um, Even that's not going to save you because Russia has money to pay to Hollywood directors who will put all those messages in Hollywood movies right now, and they get funding for that. So, but first things first, you should stop, cut off any kind of Russian programming. Music, don't listen to God. No, it's horrible to begin with, but some people do. Like lots of Ukrainians are doing that, which is puzzling to me.
Also, there's no free speech, obviously. Um, I'm going back to everything is controlled, everything that you do, how much money you make is controlled. Um, they'll take it away if you make a lot of money because they'll use it to kill Ukrainians. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's horrible.
you're
And
helping Russia to do a genocide if you're helping Russia in any way.
yeah, if you had some kind of business in Russia and you still pay taxes to Russia, that's complicity. Um, there was just recently in the fashion industry, there was I don't have the story prepared, but there was a huge designer, Italian designer, that got slammed for evading sanctions and helping Russia in a big way. Um, but I will do that story. I actually wanted to, since it's fashion biggest moment of the year is now all the fashion weeks and stuff. But
Mhm.
Johnny, we have a couple of questions to get to.
Shoot away. I
Um,
do have a really interesting story that I was hoping we could get into, at least one of them.
okay.
So see if we have time for that.
I mean, a lot of them of the questions are to you, um, which makes me think we haven't done this yet, but maybe we should do a Johnny interview, which I'm happy to do, so you guys get to know him a bit better. Uh, but you know, they exist is asking.
I'm a new face. I'm a new face
Yeah,
on your channel, so people are curious what's
yeah,
going on.
absolutely. Well, the Shills did it with me, so you know, we should probably do an interview so people get to know you better. So people's questions stay on topic instead of. But this is a good one. You know, they exist is asking if Johnny would play a musical instrument. What is his choice?
Well, I'm trained to play piano. I was, as a child, I was going to musical school for piano. But when I was a teenager, I learned to play guitar by myself. and I dabble into some rock music.
Oh, don't be.
Guitar is
You're
my
a
primary.
musician, Johnny.
Yeah,
Stop
I'm a
it.
musician. I love
Don't
rock
play coy.
music. I love music. I love British rock and American rock. I just love the Western musical traditions. Um, and yeah, that's my jam.
Quite literally, that is your jam.
Don't you play musical instruments, Larry? Did you learn
I
to play piano?
I learned how to play the piano, but as far as music goes, I grew up with classical music because I went to professional ballet school. So that's like I wasn't able to fully learn any instruments because all my hours a day I was dancing. I was training for ballet and basically had no like childhood. Like I lived, breathed, slept, did everything ballet because that's what it
Hmm.
takes when go professional. So yeah, but I
And
did
you
learn
were invited
piano.
in, you were invited to dance ballet into like one of the prestigious Russian schools at some point. That was before
The
the war.
only what the one and only Vaganova Ballet School in St.
Yeah,
Petersburg.
yeah. That's a
So
world famous one.
it's world famous, yes, but that's also a lot of propaganda in ballet. But
Yeah,
yeah,
you have to be vetted.
yeah. Well,
All
ballerinas
the,
in Russia are used, as spies, as prostitutes,
all
like
of the Russian
everything.
ballerinas are used as spies, as agents. They're all vetted by FSB, former
Escorts,
KGB.
prostitutes. It's like
Yeah,
ballerinas are like Russia's like um elite way of corrupting the I guess
the
the
West.
elite, the West, and every because they're
Yeah,
beautiful, like they're
and then you are some kind of politician in Germany. All of a sudden, you're hitting it off with a Russian ballerina. You think she finds you attractive. You fall in love, and she's like, "Oh, are you gonna sign that document on Monday? Russia just wants peace. These freaking Ukrainian Nazis." And that's how the messages spread. All of the
Hollywood did
people.
a couple of movies on Russian ballerinas that are actual spies. I think
Yeah, I mean
Angelina
it.
Jolie wasn't one of them. Salt was one of them. Another one,
Yeah,
Jennifer
and
Lawrence did. Red Sparrow was,
right.
yeah.
Wasn't Natalie Portman in one as well? Or am I like
Yeah.
maybe? I don't
Yeah,
take
and
my
then
word
just
for it.
recently, Ballerina came out, which is a spin-off of John Wick. Um,
Mm, gosh, I couldn't watch that. It's like again
I
with the
love it.
Russian.
'Cause,
Yeah, because you
John
like
Wick
you
is
like because you like Russian portrayals. A second
no,
I
but
hear Russian, I
he
turn it
fucks
off.
them up though. John Wick fucks them up. He calls himself Baba Yaga, and he's like, Baba Yaga is coming for you. Ukrainian
It's
drones are named Baba Yaga.
that's actually yeah. We have Baba Yaga. We have
He's so
another one.
badass because he like fucks them up. He fucks Russians up so bad. And he's always like, Baba Yaga is coming for you. And they like tremble, which is why Ukraine called the drones Baba Yaga because of John Wick, the film.
You think I should rewatch it?
Yeah.
I love the actor. I love Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
He's a man. He's a
All
good
right.
guy.
Johnny, go with your stories. I'm cutting off my news brief. It's all yours. And then
Listen, I need your support on this because this is huge. I had two stories, but I'll just do this one. This one is amazing. So something big and huge happened this week with the Nobel Peace Prize. Um, and this has to do with one of the nominants for the Nobel Peace Prize, which is a widow of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny and his widow wife, ex-wife or
oh, I
widow,
have a lot of
whatever,
things to say about her.
Yulia Navalnaya.
Yeah.
Okay, so so the Western West is calling her like the new face of Russian opposition. That's the face.
Well, everyone thinks
Um,
she's once Putin is destroyed, that she's gonna be the new president of Russia.
yeah, she also doesn't really pass the Crimea check, and her husband did not pass the
Yeah.
Crimea check
Oh.
famously. Um, so
She's not
uh,
against the Russian invasion of Ukraine. She's against the West sanctioning Russia.
yeah,
Um,
all of these Russian oppositions, they think that they can fool the West. Basically, they're getting huge grants, huge money from the West.
yeah.
She was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, just like Trump. She did not get it, but she was close. She was where Trump is. This is a huge story.
Well,
So what I'm actually trying to talk about, there's this guy Andrei Volna. He is he's a sincere. I don't want to say good Russian. Like let Yulia Navalny be good Russian. He's a sincere Russian person. He helps Ukraine a lot. He's a doctor. He's a political immigrant. He was forced to flee Russia because he was supporting Ukraine. Obviously, they were trying to persecute him. You can go to jail in Russia. Lots of people are in jail because of that. So he fled to Baltic countries. He's somewhere in Baltic state. And so Yulia Navalny, she was complicit in releasing a book. And the book was focused on the diaries of Alexei Navalny. And they released this book in Russia and in all other languages, like in Europe, in like French, in English, in Dutch, in whatever language they could translate it. And this Andrei Volna, who is a really good guy, he's a great guy. He's helping raise donations for Ukrainian military. He kind of he's a sympathizing with Yulia Navalny. He thinks she's trying to do the good thing, but there is no oppositions in Russia, and you guys will learn that in a second. So he noticed a peculiar fact that the book that the Russians received had 398 pages, and the book that the Western people received has 98 pages more, 496. So almost 100 pages were missing from the Russian version of this book. And he started reading because he can read Russian, he can read English, he can read all these languages. And turns out any mention of Ukraine was cut out from the book version that was made for Russians. So this opposition leader, Yulia Navalny, she cut out anything where Navalny's, by the way, he was not a huge supporter of Ukraine. He was Navalny is basically a Nazi.
a
He's a
Nazi.
Russian
Yeah.
Nazi. Yeah. Um, he was calling Georgians rodents. He was calling Asian Russians. He was calling them cockroaches. He was basically like he was for Russia being white and kind of like Christian and white. He's white himself. He was saying Russia is for white people and Moscow is for Moscow-born people. He was like the for the supremacy, white supremacy guy. He hated Ukrainians openly. He was supporting of every crime that Putin was doing. And shortly before he died, shortly before Navalny died, he realized that his only ticket to freedom and to life is Ukrainian victory. So he started vaguely kind of saying things at the pressure from the West, by the way. He vaguely started saying certain things, kind of in support of Ukraine, not even in support of Ukraine, but kind of mentioning, oh, there's war in Ukraine, just acknowledging the war in Ukraine. Um, a lot of his messages had to do with how much Putin has destroyed the Russian army that they cannot even conquer Ukraine. So you have to consider maybe that's not really a pro-Ukrainian message. That's mostly like, let's have less corruption in Russia so we can more easily take over Ukraine. So this person, right before he died, he was writing certain things about Ukraine, not even very supportive. And it's been cut out. Even those vague messages about Ukraine, even they were cut out from the Russian version. This is, of course, atrocious, but it's an important exercise into understanding how Russians think. This war is not Putin's war. This war is um, it's a need. It's a need that Russians have, and Putin is facilitating that need. Russians are asking for this war. They want this war. Putin is making it happen. You know, of course, Russians don't want to die, they don't want to fight, they don't want to suffer, but they do want the war, they do want the victory, they do hate Ukraine, they do want to see Ukraine destroyed uniformly. It doesn't matter if you're Russian opposition, if you're Russian pro Russia, anti Russia, any kind of Russian, they're not passing Ukraine test, they're not passing Crimea test, and this is just like egregious example of just despicable Russian opposition meddling, cutting out 98 pages, like anything that has to do with Ukraine, because they think they can get away with it. You know, they can lie to the West, and they're sitting with their asses on two chairs at once. You know, to the West, they say, listen, Alexei was supporting Ukraine. He was talking about Ukraine. We are on the right side of history here. And this same book they're producing for Russians, and they don't even bother saying anything about Ukraine. And by the way, I dug deeper into this. Some say that you cannot really openly print a book in Russia for sale if it's going to have messages supporting Ukraine. And that's not true, because this book is not for sale. It's just a book that's available. You can download it, or you can just read it online. It's just a translation of, it's not even translation, he wrote it in Russian. Alexei, the other books are translation. This is not the easiest way to do this, is just to publish it. They actually went out of their way to delete any mention of Ukraine from that book. Another thing, to publish this book, they created a company called One Book Publishing. One Book Publishing, just to publish this book. So they were completely independent. They didn't rely on Russian state's money or approval or anything. It all came from their own decision. They made the decision to cut out any mention of Ukraine for the Russian leaders that are supporting Russian opposition. And to me, that's all you need to know about Russian opposition. Unfortunately, she will lie. Yulia Navalny will keep on lying. She will lie to the West. She will portray the facade of, you know, she's a big freedom fighter. She's a big democracy. You know, she might even support Ukraine, but it's only the message for Western people. It's not the internal message she's sharing with her audience within Russia. And it's very important to understand this. That's all. I just wanted to get that out there. That's because, you know, the Nobel Peace Prize is going this week, and this freaking bitch was nominated as well. You know, I just wanted to get that out there. Oh, Slavi, your mic is muted.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Everything is crashing now. I couldn't unmute. I was clicking it and it wasn't unmuting.
It's too much Russians, too much Russian information.
Yeah, and we've been going for quite a bit now, but wanted to add to that that even during Biden administration, they loved Yulia Navalny. They had their kids like working in some kind of, I want to say, in the campaign offices. They hired the kids, and yeah, they were very supportive. And this plays into, like, they were getting ready because there's no really other Russian opposition, so they were getting her ready, kind of gave her asylum here, and the kids, and getting her ready to be like the next Russian president. I can't even say it. I'm like, oh, I can't. But the next Russian president. The left loves her. I don't know what Trump administration though, what their relationship is. It'll be interesting to know.
Well, Trump, personally, I've never heard him speak about Yulia Navalny.
Yeah.
But essentially, there's no difference between Putin or Navalny. Navalny was endorsing every crime that Putin was committing, including occupation of Crimea, the war in Ukraine. He said he saw the reasons for that. He's basically a Russian Nazi, self-proclaimed, but he is. That's the face of Russian opposition. I mean, it is what it is. We just have to call the spade a spade. He returned to Russia willingly. You know, after he was poisoned, he was in a coma. They transported him to Germany, where they brought him back to life. In Germany, he was alive, and Yulia Navalny, she brought him. She said, "Boy, bring us vodka. We're going to Russia." She said this famous quote from another Nazi Russian movie. He went immediately to jail over there and was killed by Putin. You know, even though, because Putin doesn't need his replacement, and Navalny was never really popular within Russia because he didn't have a different message from Putin. He didn't have a message of he was just basically a Putin, only younger, better looking, and he promised less corruption. So
Yeah,
we could
that their whole thing is less, no corruption, and that's all what they're going against. In the meantime, while, because there's a huge foundation set up for now her in the West, because they get a lot of Western money to do this whole democracy thing in Russia. And it's been uncovered actually that there's a lot of corruptions in these nonprofit organizations that they have. So I'm like, well, isn't it interesting? You're going against
um,
corruption while you have, basically, they take money from the people that donate to their foundation, which is they don't have to pay taxes because of that,
yes.
and they take funds like for themselves and everything. What is it called?
I
Embezzling. They're embezzling.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
urge everyone to never donate to any Russian opposition parties. They don't really exist. Um, they are rich, extremely rich. They always get funding. The Westerners are so sympathetic to these poor Russians. They come to Europe, they start crying that they're fighting against this evil regime of Russia, against the evil Putin, that they're suffering. They're all millionaires, by the way. They come to Europe, they get grants, they get tons of money from Europeans. They settle in the richest parts of the city, in the best parts of Paris, Berlin, Amsterdam. These are the non-profit organizations, right? They're fighting the evil Russian regime. They have the huge spaces in the middle of the most expensive, because they're Russians. They deserve
Yeah.
the best. You know, they're supposed to fight corruption in Russia with a good view of the Elysian fields. You know, you're a
With the
sucker.
Lamborghini as well, couple of them.
They have greatest cars. They have prostitutes delivered. It's you name it. It's all happening over there. And by the way, everything that they're doing, uh, also Putin's media is writing that that's what Ukrainians are doing, which is Russian propaganda. Excuse me. You're a sucker if you're donating to any of these Russian oppositions. They're not really an opposition. They're all playing the same game. They're getting ready just in
Kanye,
case.
unfortunately, it's not just Russian opposition. Russians are always victims. I even see it on YouTube. I don't know how this it came up in my algorithm, but there was like some Russian prostitute. By the way, I call every Russian woman a prostitute, but there was a Russian prostitute uh, in my algorithm showing me a video how she's going around in Russia crying about how high the food prices are. Obviously, not once did she say anything about the war. They can't, or they'll get in trouble. But she
Ukraine
was
doesn't exist to them.
right. There's no such thing, and she was crying to like Western dudes, and then I was just like, I was curious. I couldn't watch the whole thing. I could only like take like 2 minutes of it. Then I was curious, like, are people donating to this? I went to like in the comments, just like scrolling. American dudes, just there you go. And she wasn't even like good looking or like anything crazy. Just a
She's a victim.
plain Russian, yeah, playing the victim, Russian prostitute.
Americans, they have empathy. Americans, they want to help the victim. They don't like suffering. But these people, they don't suffer. They're all of them are very rich. If they're opposition, if they're kind of opposition that are speaking out, they are in cahoots with Russian government. You know, they have a free entrance into to speak with Putin. They all receive funding from Russia sometimes. Like the rabbit hole goes so deep with these people. They're not any kind of victims. Um, uh, the only true Russian opposition is Boris Nemtsov. That's the last Russian opposition, and he's laying 6 feet under. That's what happens if you are truly Russian opposition. This is a person who was calling a spade, who was calling out the war of Putin in Ukraine, who was saying that Crimea is Ukraine. He would pass the Crimean check. Yulia Navalny is not going to pass the Crimean check, just like Trump, just like all those other Russian sympathizers.
There is one Russian politician, used to be politician, and during the annexation of Crimea, he was the only one in the Duma to go against it. Today, he lives in Ukraine. His name is Ilya Ponomarev.
Ponomarev, yeah.
Ponomarev.
He was an lawyer of some opposition leader. Possibly was he Navalny's lawyer or something?
No, well,
No,
I had no. I interviewed him like at the beginning of
really?
like, yeah,
Ilya
no,
Ponomarev?
yeah.
He's
He
famous.
follows me. I know he follows me on like Instagram and stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I know this guy.
yeah, and I always say that if there are actual good Russians, they're in Ukraine and on the front lines fighting for Ukraine, not Russia. Those Russians are awesome. Anyone else, despite what they say, what they support or don't support, or
Yeah, so this guy is different, right? So he
yeah,
voted against
he
Russia's annexation of Crimea. You have to understand that's why he had to flee the country. You
yeah.
vote against the annexation of Crimea. If you don't, this is
Russia actually
unforgivable
tried
law.
to take his house because he lives in Ukraine, and Russia tried to. They attacked with Shahed drones his house completely. Russia is still trying to take him out.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But he started doing awesome things in Russia or in Ukraine. Um, he was the political leader of the Russian unit fighting in Ukraine, and
Mm-hmm.
I think they're still fighting, but I think they haven't like new. Anyways, what's it called? um, inter Russia Legion something. There's
Well,
a couple
there's
of
two of
them.
them. You're right. Legion Freedom of Russia,
That
and
one, yeah,
what was the other one? I forget. But
yeah.
yeah, there are two,
They
two,
like similar
two.
names too, but yeah, one of them, or I don't know, maybe both of them. He was their political leader, and they're still functioning today. Um, and they're doing. I think they have a lot to do with all the attacks that Ukraine can take out, like oil
Mhm,
refineries, because they have people on the ground.
mhm.
And
Yeah,
obviously, we can't know much about that. It's the mystery. But he said, "Yeah, or we're partly organizing those kind of missions as well." So that's probably the only politician. Also, not a politician, the chess player.
oh,
Gasparov.
yeah, Garry Gasparov.
Yeah, he's great. He's more of an activist, and um,
Kasparov.
yes, I never got to talk to him, but I got to interview the CEO of his organization, which is kind of like a think tank, which we're responsible of figuring out how to handle Russian frozen assets. So a lot of like financial stuff and lawyers. So that was really cool. That's another actual good and productive Russian.
Even though he is Armenian, let's just put that out there. So, well, um, he was a Russian citizen, but
Yeah.
was he born in Armenia?
I'm not sure. I didn't know that. I just knew he's as a Russian. First time I hear that
Uh,
he's
well,
Armenian. But
anytime,
it doesn't.
anytime when you say Russisian, that doesn't mean anything
He
because
played
within
chess for
Russia,
Russia, you know.
right, right, but there is no Russian ethnicity. He was born in Baku, Azerbaijan, but he is part of the um, Armenian diaspora, Armenian ethnicity.
Johnny, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Um, Maybe more philosophical. How do you deal with those that are half Ukrainian, half Russians, um, when they also support Russia?
I don't really care ethnically who you are. It doesn't matter to me. I never get into like at your ethnic background. It doesn't matter. You can be Irish, Jewish, whatever is your ethnic background, Italian, uh,
But
Ukrainian, Russian.
those kind of people, they promote. They're like, I'm Ukrainian, so I know better than you or whoever. Like in arguments, but they fully support, Russia. But they know
I
because they're ethnically Ukrainian.
Yeah, because it works. It works. It's gonna kind of
Yeah,
work. Oh, it's a Ukrainian person, and they're saying, "Oh, Russia, we should stop
yeah.
supporting Ukraine." Oh, okay. Um, I suggest everybody stop worrying about ethnicity. Ethnicity doesn't matter. There's a right and wrong. There's a good side. There's a bad side. Right? You can be a Russian and do good things. You can be a Ukrainian and do bad things. It's like a Nazi fixation with what's your blood, where you born, what's your ethnicity, who are your parents. Um, I don't think that's the least important thing. The important thing is, like when Paris was attacked and those cartoon artists were murdered, everybody says "Je suis Paris," Je suis Hebdo." Like we are Hebdo, we are French, um, we are all Ukrainians right now. If you are on the side of good, if you are on the side of democracy, of freedom, you support Ukraine, right? And it doesn't matter your ethnic background. You can be like Ilya Ponomaryov, born in Russia. You can be like those Russian soldiers that are fighting on the side of Ukraine, trying to liberate Ukraine, trying to have Russia pay for the crimes that it's doing. You know, ethnically, we should stop worrying about that. Our world is we live in a global economy, global society, global everything. We should celebrate everyone. If you are you know Irish, let's celebrate you. You have Irish traditions, Irish food. If you're Italian, you have pizza. That's great. But when it comes to these talks, I think ethnicity is the least important factor in everything that's happening.
I don't know, not for me, but I see where you're going with that. But I think for me, and especially being Ukrainian, and because we fought so hard to protect what we are, our culture, our language is a big one. We were really suppressed because of our ethnicity. And since the fall of Soviet Union, finally the world has started to learn about Ukraine, and Ukraine is the oldest um, of like with history on Ukraine's land, just ancient. I think it's important for Ukrainians to say and share who they are, what they are ethnically, culturally, and linguistically. Because Russia has been suppressing, erasing, starving us, and hey, we're still here, and we fought hard for it. So I think that's just my take on it. It's important, at least for me, and for people to know who I am and um, my
You
ancestry.
you are, you are Ukrainian, and Ukraine is a vibrant, colorful culture with great history, with amazing traditions, with songs, with food. Russia is trying to steal and erase everything that Ukraine has. Um, they start teaching history from Rus, which is Ukrainian territory. Russian history, they teach history from Rus, which is Ukraine. And every other nation that they conquered, they teach the history of that nation from the time of being conquered by Russia. Like you talk to this Buryat person, like I was amazed. I was talking to this well, I've seen this dialogue, and I was amazed. I wasn't the one doing the interview, but he says, oh, we don't have history before Russia conquering us because we did not have alphabet, and we couldn't write it down. And so this guy who was interviewing, he just Googled it, and he said, look, you have alphabet. You had alphabet before Russia conquering you. He's like, no, we didn't write any history. We don't really have a history. And he's like, even if you don't have alphabet, if you couldn't write it down, there is um, like archaeology. You can dig up. You have people living there. You have traditions. You have costumes, national costumes. You have poetry. You have famous poets in all of these nations, by the way. But they're taught to learn. They're taught that they don't have any history before enslavement by Russia. That everything for them starts when the Great Russia came. It gave them literacy. It gave them history. It gave them greatness, and everything they have is because of Russia. Um, and Russia is trying to do the same for Ukraine. They start teaching Russian history from Ukrainian territory, which is absurd, but that is Russia for you. They call themselves Rus, which is a Ukrainian name of Ukrainian territory. Um, it's a Ukrainian history. They, yeah, if you speak Ukrainian, you're a target for Russia. If you like Ukraine, you're a target for Russia. Russians will persecute you if they can. They will shun you online. If they can, they'll do whatever. Being Ukrainian is a hostility act
It's an act
for
of
Russians.
defiance. It's standing against empire, basically. But it's not just Ukraine, though. Any country, any nation, which is a lot of them, that's been colonized, um, I think it's important to stand proud and let the world know who you are.
No,
It's important.
definitely.
If anything,
But
going if we're going by the logic of, oh, it doesn't matter. There's the whole like, oh, fuck the borders. There shouldn't be any borders. That kind of, or we're no different. We're all the same, and that whole spiel. Um, that kind of goes into what Russia wants. Is everyone to be
I'm
one
not against
and
borders.
everything?
I'm not against borders at all. And like I said, we should celebrate all cultures. But on a question of Ukraine, on a question of right and wrong, I don't think ethnicity matters. You can be a Russian and support Ukraine, and you should
Oh,
support Ukraine. It doesn't matter what your ethnicity is. We're all Ukrainians right now. Ukraine is fighting for all of us right now. you know I'm so proud to it's like Zaluzhin said, maybe like after a certain point in the war, he said, even if we don't win the war after this, we're never gonna be стыдно. How to say, нам не буде стыдно, нам не буде
mhm.
соромно. We're never gonna be, I'm looking for the word, when Zaluzhin said, нам ніколи не буде вже соромно. We're never gonna
So
be
sad.
стыдно, соромно.
Oh,
Ah,
it's now
we're never going to be ashamed to be
yeah, there
called
you go.
to be called Ukrainians, because when
Yeah.
this war started, a lot of people didn't know where Ukraine is on the map of the world, you know. But Ukraine, with its act of defiance and with taking up this battle, was refusing to give up, and taking this fight to the biggest, the baddest Russia out there, you know. And Zaluzhny said, like, whether we win the war or we lose the war, after what we already showed, we will never be ashamed to call ourselves Ukrainians. And you
By
should
the
be
way,
proud to.
Russia pulled out of the anti-torture, I guess, some kind of union,
Yeah,
and now it's legal to torture in Russia, and it is the most what Russians do, how they torture Ukrainian kids, women. It's now they can't get in trouble for it because it's legal in Russia. So it's going to be very, very hard to prosecute. Russia know what they're doing. They did it for that reason, so they couldn't be prosecuted or as hard for Russian war crimes, because torture is a war crime, and it's sickening. Like I don't even have the words to describe what Russia does to people. Uh, how their tactics. I didn't even know such evil things existed in the world, that these people have like the creativity to create such disgusting and foul things to make other person. It's not your regular torture, and that's pretty bad. But what they do is, if you have the stomach for it, please look into it, and see what Russia does, because I don't think anybody can look at Russians after reading what they do and how they torture Ukrainians or defenders who are stuck in Russia.
I don't have
Dark.
the stomach for it. I know everything that they're doing. I need That's why I need YouTube, because I cannot. These things, they're so atrocious. I cannot research it myself because I will lose sleep. It's incredible, the level of hate and, you know, like disregard for human life, the obsession with suffering that Russians are exhibiting. It's it's uh, it's hard to believe that it exists on this planet right now, and
But their
it's
torture tactics is like to make, why I brought it up is to make you being ashamed of being Ukrainian, is to like beat it out of you, or torture you until and laugh at you until you say otherwise. But that's their whole reason for the torture, is to get the Ukrainianness out of you and humiliate you. um
I just know some of the things
yeah,
that they're doing, and I cannot even say it on this stream. Like we
yeah.
need all kinds of, like, people are gonna be disturbed, like the the sexual assault of soldiers, and that's like
Not
the
just
least.
soldiers, babies. They rape
Babies,
babies.
so like the youngest we have on record, that's recorded on video by Russians themselves, a 10-month-old baby, and we have report of 74-year-old man. So they don't it's and everything in between. You have to understand that's one of their subjugation tactics. They started doing this right away from first hours of invasion, when they thought they were going to conquer Ukraine in 3 days. They thought they only have 3 days to do this, so they started the sexual thing right away, like within hours. You know, in Bucha, in all those places. Those the first ones they hit. They actually packed them the marching uniform to march in the victory parade. They packed the marching uniforms. They were ready for the victory parade, so they went there with understanding that Ukraine will invite them with open arms, that they will conquer Ukraine within hours or days, and they're gonna march. Ukraine is gonna become part of Russia. It's gonna be their people soon. It's not like right now. Right now, it's much worse. Right now, they do have the understanding that Ukrainians are fighting them. They're not gonna let them take their land. But at that time, they were fed this propaganda that this is a brotherly nation. This is a nation that's waiting for you. You just go there. They open their arms. They invite you, and you march in a parade, in a victory parade, and we conquer Ukraine. We show the middle finger to the evil West and to evil United States, you know, and we're gonna be the victors. So with that mentality, they started doing all those things, all those atrocities, mass graves, where they're thinking, oh, we're here to visit a brotherly nation, stealing toilets right away. Besides toilets, well, they're stealing a lot of like washing machines and um, refrigerators, anything they don't have in Russia, basically. And they were actually complaining online that Ukrainians are living a rich, lavish lives, that they have these washing machines, they have these refrigerators, they have toilets, they have all this stuff. So yeah, I mean, the torture is, yeah, it's a topic for another time. I
Johnny, do you have
cannot.
any other topics that you want to do, or can we start wrapping it up?
We can start wrapping it up. We did a
Yeah,
good marathon.
yeah.
Listen, can we say, because we're like 3 hours and 40 minutes into it, we should say, hey guys, there's a way to help Ukraine right now. Can you go to car for number 4 Ukraine.com, car number 4 Ukraine? That's what we usually try to raise money with the shills. That's a car that's going to help Ukrainian soldiers. It's a really good car. There was just one recently destroyed by a Russian strike, but everyone inside the car survived. So it's a great vehicle. It's made with a purpose, and it works great. And let's raise some money. If you tell them that Slavi and Johnny sent you, we appreciate it. But all we care about, if you just go there and you donate to that cause.
Absolutely. I think we have links as well that the mods can link. Um, if not, I'll include the link in the show notes below. We do have a couple of requests. Uh, one from SSW Custom Sewing saying, can we learn more about Ukrainian foods? Food is one thing that brings everyone together. I agreed on that.
Ukraine has amazing food tradition. My favorite cuisine in the whole world is Ukrainian. I just recently started learning to cook some of it, and I'm so good at this. I have friends
What are you
over.
learning to?
I recently cooked bograch. Well, recently within the last year, I learned to cook, but it was such a success. I already had friends over twice. Everybody loves it. I already have like, when are you cooking bograch next? Bograch is like the Western Ukrainian Carpathian type of food. I also cooked bigus. I cooked some other things as well.
What'd you say?
There's a bigus. That's also a very like super Ukrainian food. Basically, it's two types of uh, um, cabbage. You have a pickled cabbage and a regular cabbage. You have pork, and you cook it all together.
Oh wow, I've never even heard of it.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
that's
it's and it's so tasty. It's so good for you. It's good for your gut. It's got all that healthy gut bacteria. You feel good after you eating. You get that boost of energy for days after that. Yeah, maybe we'll do a Ukrainian cookout someday or something like that.
Cookout. We also have a request um, from, actually not a question, a request. You know they exist, saying this topic of Russian ops is a big subject. Do a whole show on it. Repeat often.
That's
Yeah,
all I want to do, to be honest.
yeah,
When,
absolutely.
when when I got on the shills the first time, that was the only thing I wanted to do, and I kind of hogged all the airtime. I knew I was gonna be kicked out for this, but I'm like, I have to read about what Russia is doing because we are under attack, and we should keep speaking about this. This message has to be amplified. That's a very good mention by
Yeah,
that person.
agree. Also, a question for Johnny. By the phrase lad, is he from Liverpool in the UK?
No, but I'm reading a British book right now by J.K. Rowling. She's doing a series of these. It's called. It's like a detective novels. She came up with this like modern day Sherlock Holmes detective, and I guess my speech is littered with British jargon right now. Good
Well,
pointing out.
apparently it's not British. People are arguing that it's Scottish.
Could be. To me, it's a second, third, and fourth languages. So you guys know better what I speak than I do.
Then I think this was going with a joke. Dow was saying, Johnny, were you born in Rushka lad? Rushka
Rashkalat,
lad, yeah.
Rashkalat. I was born in Ukraine. I was born in Western Ukraine. But the way I was born in Soviet Union, and Soviet Union, the Russian culture is ever present. You, if you are a part of a city, you're supposed to try to be like Ruski, which is a dominant ethnicity in Russia, or try to become Ruski because it's free to enter. Anybody can become Ruski. You just have to accept that Russia is a great country. You have to forget your roots. You have to forget your language, your culture. They openly say it. Like there's steps you have to take, and you become Ruski, which is a dominant um, ethnicity of Russia. But I was born in Western Ukraine. I'm Ukrainian. But I was under impression that the greatest thing you can be for when I was growing up, I thought is to be Ruski.
and to become
Where
risky.
where in Western Ukraine?
Uh, is it is it okay if we? I don't want to share too much information. No, I can say the city. It's Chernivtsi.
Oh, okay.
You guys know
What's
Chernivtsi?
wrong with that?
No, I don't know. I'm just trying to, my family,
Yeah.
because they know what Russians are doing. People are dying in Germany, in United States. Russians are killing Ukrainians. That's another thing we can discuss. There are attacks with knives, with all kinds of things. Like I don't care about that too much, but of course we all have to exercise a certain level of just anonymity and just the general common sense precautions. But yeah, maybe I'm taking it too far with not saying where I was born. But yeah,
Oh no. I thought it was like for maybe you have family that's on the front lines, because I know I couldn't say a lot when my uncle, he passed away now, um, when he was on the front lines. So, but now, you know, now I can. He's gone. But yeah, that it was like a safety issue from Russia.
it is a safety issue for all of us. There is a war going on, and we have to exercise some common sense things. And I know, Slavi, you are exercising those as well. We're all trying to practice some common sense things right now.
Yeah,
It's
no, for
dangerous.
sure. It's important. But I mean, everybody knows I was born in Kharkiv,
Yeah,
and think many people know, like I still have relatives there. They're old, but yeah, and we still have property there, so every day is like, oh my gosh. um but people don't know where. But yeah, we got oh, Mdow was saying, or Mdow Brock, in Scotland we call boys lad or lads, etc. The lad I was with went to the shop. The lads are away to football. Lads are Scottish. That's what I
nice.
thought.
I love that word. I love Scottish language. Commander Macmillan has Scottish roots,
Yeah. You
famously.
know, Scottish history is very close to Cossacks, to Ukrainian history. And they were defiant from the British oppression and colonization, and it's a very similar stuff. I started watching Outlander, and I'm like obsessed with Scotland and the culture and their history, because it's so similar to Ukraine's. And you have all these the man that are, I forget what they're that are fighters and warriors, but they're also like crazy and um, just defiant, more like they don't listen to anyone. There's no authority, right, against the empire, against any sort of control. And
They're proud people.
proud people. It's they're so similar to Ukraine's culture, especially the Cossacks. Very, very similar. And I gotta say, gotta give it to Scottish men. Hot.
Ah, it's too bad Commander Macmillan is not listening in. We have to
I'll tell
send him. We
him.
have to send him some excerpts from
I,
today.
I I had no idea about like I never really um had any friends, Scottish friends or anything. So, but now my mind has been blown.
Now,
It's
now,
cool.
now your direct messages are gonna be populated with Scottish propositions.
I if you look anything like the guy from Outlander, my DMs are open.
Nothing wrong with that.
Uh, yeah. Okay. So,
And
anything else?
that's such a Ukrainian thing. We as Ukrainians we love other cultures, other nations, other traditions. It's such an interesting thing for us, and it's so anti-Russian. Russians, they don't really care. They call everyone who is small like Everyone is smaller than Russia, but they call a lot of these like lesser nations. Have you heard that? That's like a Russian version of N word, but only it's like stated on Russian national television. You know, anything that's said by, let's say, Estonia can be dismissed because it's a lesser nation.
It's a fake
Uh,
country.
yeah, everything that's small, like it doesn't matter. Oh, they have songs that no, they're a lesser nation.
No, I mean, I think Israel is small, but it gets a lot of respect. I think it's all has to do with money and if you have
No,
nukes.
I'm talking about Russians. Russians don't respect Israel. In fact, they're spreading
There's
all kinds of.
Russian is Israelites, a lot of them.
Yeah, but it's they're Russian. That's the problem.
But
It's
many people, just because they're like Russian in Israel, they're like, oh, they're not Russian. Like they can't act like Russia. I'm like, they're Russian.
they're Russian. Yeah.
They're Russian. So
Listen, in this war, you're either Russian or you're Ukrainian. There is nothing else.
yeah.
It's you have to pick a side. We all have to pick a side and stick with it. There's no other side. It's Russian or Ukrainian.
But there's a lot of Russian Jews like in Israel. Anywhere
That's
actually.
true.
Here there's so
And
many.
listen, a lot of them they support Ukraine as well. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
But
yeah, in theory they do, but it's not like they're going out. I had many Russian like Jewish friends, guys, and they're like they said like support Ukraine. They don't really support Ukraine. They're still like proud to be Russian, or like it's mostly they try to hide the Russian parts, but they're like now we're from we're Israeli. We're not Russian, but like they act like Russians. It's sometimes really like foul, but like I don't know.
unfortunately, a lot of these people they're plugged into Russian information space. They listen to
Yeah,
Russian music. They watch Russian movies. Some from
yeah.
Soviet era. From Soviet era, so you start watching a Soviet movie, then you start watching modern Russian movie. All of these movies are vetted by Russian information ministry. There are subliminal messages about the greatness of Russia, about non-greatness of everyone else, about the evil West, about the gays in Europe. That's why I'm saying just turn it off. Don't listen or watch anything. It poisons your mind. Everything that they're plugged into that Russian information space, and it shows. That's how Russia creates its Russian agents all around the world. They're spreading this information, and then they find people who are receptive to this. And these are the people who are going to support Russia down the line.
A lot of them are with like right wing mindset. A lot of like Israeli people are, uh,
Mhm.
but certainly the Russian Israelis, most of them that I knew, um, all of them like right wing mindset, which is borderline fascism, basically.
Because those are the messages that Russia has ready. They're already producing them. They're producing them for United States, for MAGA, for Republican Party, but they spread them everywhere.
Well, you
So
have
you,
like I was saying like in terms of like Israel, because Bibi is very he's right wing, so Trump loves him. A lot of their government is very, but I don't want to get into Israeli
yeah, let's
politics.
not get into
It's
that.
not a hill I'm gonna climb
that's
right now.
that's a too big of a mountain to climb at this
Yeah,
point. Yeah, but yeah. Anything else we should touch before we say part ways for the day?
I'm checking right now. I did miss a couple of news stories, but
We can't cover everything. We did a good
yeah,
chunk.
yeah.
I'm holding out on certain things as well. So,
Oh,
but
I'm not holding out. I'll actually, I think, um, for members, I will post the news brief after the show.
So stick around. You'll get your news.
Yeah. I know some of you
Subscribe.
like to read them, so I'm just trying to find my closing, and I can't. I must be tired. I am definitely not one for long live streams, as you
Listen,
can see.
we went from maybe there's no stream to like 4 hours. We're 4 hours into this, so this is like a marathon. Please, guys, don't let this stream go to waste. Go to Car for Ukraine, car number for Ukraine. Donate. Tell them Slavy and Johnny sent you. It's a good thing to to talk about all these things to spread this message. It's very important, but we also can do a little extra.
Absolutely. So this week reminded us that in war, narrative is a weapon, and sometimes the front line runs through many of our screens. As Ukraine's skies lit up with drones and the streets of Kiev went dark with power cuts, the world's attention was on a gold medal in Scandinavia. And who didn't get it, to be precisely. But while prizes and press releases come and go, Ukraine is still here, breaking the spine of the Russian oil economy, holding the line on every front and refusing to bow to terror. So keep showing up, keep fighting the information war, and keep reminding the world what's really at stake. Don't forget to like the stream, share it loud, and if you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe to Channel Yurchenko and also Young Ukrainians, so you don't miss any of our shows and videos coming up. Next video of this episode will be out on Monday, so stay tuned for that. And I want to say huge thank you to the moderators. You guys are rock stars as always. Thank you for helping out with the questions and everything. Thank you to every guest, Johnny, and every single one of you watching. Thank you. You're not just viewers, you are allies in the war for truth. So be fierce, be brave like Ukraine, and God bless America and Slava Ukraini.
Героям слава.
We need to get some like nice credits going. This part is always so awkward. I do have actually credits. I don't know. I guess I need to set it up.
I'll do the song and you'll do the dance. You're the ballerina, I'm the musician, and we'll do the live out.
Actually, let me practice. What am I doing? Let me see if I have. Oh, sure.
We're not gonna end this stream, guys.
Let me practice how to do the credits, because
Thank you, Broadcast Cat. You're the best.
Wrong one.
That looks nice. All the Scottish,
that old one.
All the Scottish males are like, what's going on here?
Oh, I have a cool one to play. It used to be my intro, but you guys,
nice.
Since it's the end, you guys will get a Ukrainian national anthem.
Symbol of freedom.
Yeah.